Well, that got him to shut up.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, September 22nd, 2019. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination episode 1175.
This is No Agenda.
Preparing for the new communism and broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33, the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we watch a score run up to 67 to 63 and compare it to a soccer score of 1-0 and ask, which is more interesting? I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
I think you asked a question, but I fell asleep. It was so long. What was the question again?
Is it more interesting to watch a soccer game where the score is 1-0 as opposed to a football game that goes 67 to 63?
Was there a game that I was supposed to watch?
Oh, who knew?
I didn't know there was any game on.
On Saturday they have a number of these games. The college teams. You have a college team near your house.
Yes, I know we do. Yes, they haven't been too great, have they?
Right in the middle of town, too.
It's not exactly the middle of town.
You don't think the Texas campus is the middle of town?
No. Downtown is the middle of town.
Okay, well, you're in any other burg, it would be considered pretty close to downtown.
Okay. Well, that's great. You sound like a very old white American guy who just does not understand soccer.
I understand soccer. I've seen soccer. I've been to the great soccer stadiums in Brazil.
Mm-hmm. No, that doesn't mean that you understand it. Otherwise, you wouldn't talk like this.
Well, maybe. You might be right. Maybe you're onto something.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't condemn you, but there's no reason to be so hateful. We're going to have a very important soccer stadium here in Austin.
You have this big, giant Texas complex. Why don't you just use that?
Again, it's like all you can be is just negative about sports in Austin and football and soccer is.
So where's the soccer stadium going up?
Wherever affordable housing was supposed to be. That's usually where we like to put our soccer stadiums. Oh yeah. Well,
I'm glad they're doing something for the homeless.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that later. I do have some updates on the homeless, but it's too depressing to start with. Let's start with the Green New Deal and the Climate March.
Oh, the Climate March. I think I have a summary clip.
Well, so there was two things. We had the school strike with
strike.
Yes, the school strike with led, of course, by Greta Thunberg. That's the official.
Thunberg.
This is how Amy pronounces it. I'm keeping it to the pros. Greta Thunberg. That's how she pronounces it. And they were very unoriginal. This is pretty much the whole march, and it wasn't hundreds of thousands. It was tens of thousands in New York. So it was kind of, I don't know if it was any good, if what it did, but this is all that I heard. That's all they got. It's another blah, blah, hey, hey, ho, ho, some fill in the blank has got to go.
I couldn't understand it. I heard the hey, hey, ho, ho. This is pretty hard to miss, but what had to go?
Climate change.
Climate change has got to go?
Yes. Climate change has got to go. I know. Not CO2, not oil, not gas. No, climate change. Yes, I'm on board with this. This bull crap climate change has got to go. I agree with them there.
Jeez.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. Our chant writers have got to go. We got to get better ones in there. And the whole thing was odd. Greta spoke before the General Assembly, the United Nations General Assembly, and reading from a piece of paper, she said this.
I have not come to offer any prepared remarks at this hearing.
She reads from her paper.
I'm instead attaching my testimony. It is the IPCC Special Report on Global Warming of 1.5 degrees Celsius, the SR 1.5, which was released on October 8th, 2018. I am submitting this report as my testimony because I don't want you to listen to me. I want you to listen to the scientists.
Oh.
And I want you to unite behind the science. And then I want you to take real action. Thank you.
What a jip! She sailed all the way from Europe to come to New York. And this is 45 seconds is all we get of, and then she submits the IPCC report.
Note to her that they already have this report?
I hope so.
She's resubmitting it.
Yes, she is resubmitting it.
Well, the contrast to that is Alan Jones in Australia.
Oh, no. Here we go again.
Yes, you can thank one of our friends in Australia for this clip.
Yeah, we have a many.
This is Alan Jones. Reason. Apparently, somebody sent this nasty note into him about how these kids should grow up, and he decides to read it in his inimitable fashion.
Prompted this piece that someone sent to me. I thought I'd share it with you. It's called Growing Up. Few commentaries on this global warming hoax have had greater relevance than this. I think I might send it to Al Gore. And it says this: to all the school kids going on strike for climate change, you're the first generation who've required air conditioning in every classroom. You want TV in every room, and your classes are all computerised. You spend all day and night on electronic devices. More than ever, you don't walk or ride bikes to school, but you arrive in caravans of private cars that choke suburban roads and worsen rush hour traffic. You're the biggest consumers of manufactured goods ever, and update perfectly good, expensive luxury items to stay trendy. Your entertainment comes from electric devices. Furthermore, the people driving your protests are the same people who insist on artificially inflating the population growth through immigration, which increases the need for energy, manufacturing and transport. The more people we have, the more forest and bushland we clear. The more of the environment that's destroyed. How about this? Tell your teachers to switch off the aircon. Walk or ride to school. Switch off your devices and read a book. Make a sandwich instead of buying manufactured fast food. No, none of this will happen. Because, the piece says, you're selfish, badly educated, virtue-signalling little turds inspired by the adults around you who crave a feeling of having a noble cause while they indulge themselves in Western luxury and unprecedented quality of life. The piece ends by saying, wake up, grow up and shut up until you're sure of the facts before protesting.
As an old white male, I applaud this talk. Yeah, the kids, instead of lame-ass chants, how about turn off your iPhones for a day? Don't charge them for a week. Go clean up something on the street. Do something. Yeah. I think it was a bust. I think the whole thing was a bust. And then to make it matters worse, they had the We Are the People march the next day, which made it very confusing. What are we supposed to focus on? Who are these people? What is this crowd? Did you see any of the We Are the People march?
No, none whatsoever.
This is, well, they were out there for sure.
Well, they lost the competition if there was one for mind share.
Well, I looked into this We Are the People march. It's not the first time they've done it's basically We Hate Trump. That is, they could have called it We Hate Trump march, but they call it the We Are the People march. And these are some rookies, but there's some big names behind it. First of all, We Are the People March 2019.org. That's their website. Rookies, you should try We Are the People March 2019.com, because that now goes to noagendashow.com. And I did them the favor of registering We Are the People March 2020.org, so I'll be ready for them next year. What a bunch of morons. You don't even know if you're going to do some kind of, campaign, register your domain names, people.
Well, yeah, and you have to do it in advance for the next 20 years. That's why you don't want to put the name that year in the domain name. It's always a mistake unless you got nothing but time on your hands to get all these domains.
Yeah, which I have some time.
That's you.
Whenever I see stuff like that, I'm like, let me just check and see if the .com's available. Okay, snag. Wait
so
a minute.
the .com was available and they used the .org because they wanted to sound like an organization.
Yeah. So I got the .com and .org for 2020. They can talk to me. So I was looking.
Donation to the show might help.
Yeah, might. I don't want to be a blackmailer or anything, or hold anything hostage. So there were professional signs, and the professional signs pointed to revcom.us. Revcom.us. Yes, Revcom.
That one's got me buffaloed.
Welcome to the revolution. This march was sponsored by the voice of the Revolutionary Communist Party USA.
Well, no wonder nobody played it up.
And who is the brain force behind this?
Soros.
No. Although he may be in there somewhere. Bob Avakian. Does this name ring a bell to you?
He sounds familiar. It sounds awfully familiar. Yeah.
Bob Avakian, also known as BA. That's how they call him. He is the chairman of the Revolutionary Communist Party of the USA. He's been around for a while. He was born in 1943. Let me see. He was the guy behind the New Left, New Communism. Born in D.C., grew up in Berkeley. He was involved with the Students for Democratic Society, the Free Speech Movement. I think you were around those parts at that time. And the Black Panther Party, the Peace and Freedom Party, the Revolutionary Youth Movement, the Weathermen. And this guy
he's one of those guys who attaches himself to all these things. He has zero to do with the free speech movement.
I'm sure he had nothing to do with it. But boy, these people over at the New Communist Party, they really love him. And he has his 6 resolutions of the Central Committee of the Revolutionary Communist Party USA. It's really quite interesting that they really think, communism is the answer. I know. Let me see if I can read, because these 6 resolutions, it's in the show notes. You can go take a look at it if you want. But BA, as they say, and that's just how they call him. They don't even call him Bob's. BA is greater than the party. This character of greater than is the principal aspect of the relationship. We have emphasized the leadership of BA and the new synthesis of communism that he has brought forward provides the theoretical framework, the scientific method, and the approach for a whole new stage of communist revolution. So their thing is somehow they will use science to show that communism is the way to go. And they don't really explain that anywhere that I could find, but I did find an interview. Actually, it was a conversation on stage between Bob Avakian and Cornel West to kind of give you an idea what these guys are all about. And this is from 2016. I don't know if it was just before the election or if it was after, but the people in the audience, communists or new communists, scientific communists perhaps, are asking, well, what do we do about voting? Voting basically doesn't work. Voting is not the way to go in a society. And we'll just listen to a little bit of that so you get an idea of why you don't need to go to these marches.
In response to voting, is there no value in working to abolish a system while participating to minimize the immediate damage it does at the same time? And then someone else asked, if we avoid voting because no candidate represents the left, how can we also avoid enabling the rise of the worst of the right?
I think it was Emma Goldman who used to say, if voting would lead toward fundamental transformation, it would be illegal.
Whoa!
So we're not against reform. We fight for reform. We're not seduced by the illusions of reform. That's all. Is that a characterization what you were talking about?
Yeah, but I think there's another. Yes, but I also think there's another point here, which is the logic of voting forgets one very basic fact. That in any kind of profound social change that's come about, it didn't come about by people playing by the rules and going along with the way things are. It went by people stepping outside of the way things are and refusing to go along with the rules.
Now, mind you, this is when Donald Trump was going outside of all the rules and stepping on everything, and they're triggered by it, but are advocating for the exact same thing.
You think about
a good point.
Yeah.
Example,
and by the way, before you continue, that overall, that's the Vakian guy with the squeaky voice, I guess.
Yeah.
Probably had a vasectomy early on.
He does look rather boyish for his age.
this is kind of the stuff that you would get in some sort of left-leaning high school civics class. I mean, this is so simplistic and stupid. It's just that the fact that people would listen to it is beyond me.
Well, I'm going to pain you for another 50 seconds.
Of the way things are, and refusing to go along with the rules. If you think about, for example, even some of the gains of the civil rights movement, the way things were in the South it wasn't just something people, white people didn't want, that black people could go to a restaurant. It was against the law.
That's right.
The law said that you had to have segregation. So if you were gonna change that, you couldn't say we have to abide by the law. You have to say this law is an unjust law. We have to step outside and oppose that. And if you think about any kind of basic change that's been brought about, it's always happened. See, people say, for example, now I got to call his name, Michael Eric Dyson. In the last presidential election said, well, if you don't vote, then you aren't in the game. The championship is the San Antonio Spurs and the Miami Heat. If you don't support one of those two teams, then you're not involved. You don't have a dog in the fight.
It's not that much different from what I hear Republicans saying. Or we've said, hey, we don't just have two parties, but these guys just say, you're not going to vote. We can't vote. It's got to be revolution, fire, bombs, whatever. No voting. We're not going to vote.
Then why does the guy then he throws out a bunch of sports cliches at us?
He's a total douche.
A total douche.
But anyway, people got out there. I don't even think they know what they're marching for. They just hate Trump. Yeah, I'll march with the commies.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, And the thing is, I understand, because I read a lot of this. I'm very interested why people follow, 6 resolutions of the Central Committee of the Revolutionary Communist Party. I'm interested in these things. And, but why? The younger generation has been convinced that health care, which really is health care insurance, is a human right. Housing is a human right. A job is a human right. They just want what their rights are, and be damned how it works. Just, I need my job. I need my health care. I need my food. And then, when you wake up one day, you're in the same box as your neighbor, doing the same dreary job as your neighbor, eating the same brown food as your neighbor. Maybe you'll change your mind, but it's going to be too late by then. And it kind of folds into that utopian world, that Alan Jones was talking about. Hey, kids, shut up. You're the biggest users of capitalist stuff. I barely even want to buy a new car anymore. I want to, just give me an old junker.
Yeah. Well, that's us.
Yeah, well, that is us. I learned that by watching you, okay? That's where I learned that old car stuff is better, for sure.
It is.
Anyway, it's still something to keep our eye on.
The thing is, I'm going to give a car buying tip just out of the blue here.
Oh, okay, good.
For people who want to buy a good used car. First of all, don't be in a hurry. Never be in a hurry. In other words, put your sights on a car you want. I want one of these. And then just wait it out. And it doesn't matter how long you wait. You're going to find some nutball or borderline nutball or somebody that has too much money and has a bunch of cars he never drives. And you're going to find a brand new, close to new version of what you wanted if you just wait it out, because there's always some guy, and you'll find some guy who's like a neat freak. Mm-hmm. That's what you really want. And he sells you a car. The car looks like it just came off the showroom floor and is 8 years old.
I haven't seen many of those, but okay.
Oh, yeah.
If Jay Leno's your neighbor, maybe.
They're out there.
Is that how you got your Lexus 26 years ago?
No, but I've gotten other cars since that have been following that procedure, and it's just like, what? This car is brand new.
Yeah. All right. How many miles do you drive?
Wait it out.
How many miles do you drive a year?
I don't drive that many.
Me neither. I was just curious.
Generally speaking, unless I have a job, which I only partake in such things about once every decade, only as a learning experience. Generally speaking, about 15,000 miles a year.
Wow. You know that truck that I have? 3 years, 11,000 miles. 3 years. I'm the guy you want to buy the truck from.
Yeah. In fact, I saw that truck.
Yeah, it looks good, doesn't it?
And you are a neat freak, even though you're in denial. That car, if whoever buys that car from you, if you haven't sold it already, is going to get a beautiful product.
Yes.
You're like a target.
They're surrounding me. They're ready for me. Exactly. Okay, so that was Thursday and Friday. What else? There's some other things going on. We got this new whistleblower, kind of, not really.
Well, the whistleblower thing is funny because this is the holy grail for the Democrats. They're all convinced that it's unbelievable how important this is. Unless I got a couple of clips here.
Okay.
Let's go to, and you got to find someone who can explain it to you. I mean, I can run over it pretty easily. It's
what can I give it a stab, because I think I've got it down to it.
Why don't you do it, because I got the clips.
Okay, so here's what I think happened. The way I understand it, Ukraine was trying to, the new Ukrainian government was trying, which is apparently the comedian guy who's nice.
The comedian's running it. Yeah.
The comedian's running the show. So he wants to talk to his colleague. No one wants
to mention that, by the way.
No, he wants to talk to his colleague, the comedian in Washington, in the White House. And he's getting nowhere. He can't get through. And the State Department, which probably has many shills left over from the previous administration, they're holding it back. Because there's what the new Ukrainian government wants to tell us, hey, man, you got some corrupt people doing some stuff over here. Which I think we kind of remember if you hear this. You know, Victoria Nuland, just putting the new government in place. And then there's the thing with Joe, which we'll get to. But they wanted to communicate something. It didn't get through. There was no response from the U.S. So the comedian president in Ukraine is thinking, oh, man, why do they hate us? Are they mad? I can't have this. And so they broker a deal where they send a lawyer, and the State Department asks Giuliani, of course, friends with our comedian, to go exchange some jokes somewhere on neutral territory in Paris. And that's when Giuliani finds out, oh, man, hold on a second. So they were investigating that Hunter Biden story. Good on you. And then that just continued somehow. And this is the part where I think it may have been, it would be beautiful if it was a setup from our comedian to let this through to a number of people. You always want to find the leaker. And then that leaker goes, wah! Well, he's trying to influence elections again. He's doing it again. And, of course, it turns out this person didn't actually hear anything firsthand. And then to save face or whatever, I'm a whistleblower. I have protection or something like that. And the whole thing is hilarious because ultimately it sounds like Joe Biden threatened the Ukrainian government pre-comedian days. Hey, get this prosecutor off my son's case. Otherwise, I'm not going to let this $1 billion come through to you that we had in loan guarantees. How did I do?
Well, that's better than I would have done, and I'm glad you took it.
Okay.
I think that analysis, which is not standard, is quite good.
It's not something you hear on the mainstream. Yeah, but I think that's more or less what happened.
It's very what you said. If you took it just verbatim, I think it may be actually what happened exactly.
Okay.
But anyway, so with the result of it, though, let me give you the reinterpretation of it.
Yes, because this is the best part.
So Trump decides to get on the phone, and he's trying to queer the Joe Biden candidacy. And by the way, this may also be, if you're going to use your thesis, this may also be a methodology to give Joe Biden more strength so he does get picked.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. So let's just go after Joe, because going after Joe early the Democrats, we got to get Joe in there.
You're right.
So supposedly gets on the phone call with a bunch of people, because there's a bunch of people in the room all the time when he's on a phone call like this. And there's people listening in. There's NSAs. People are on the line. Everyone's there. And so there's a whole slew of people. And he says to the guy, hey, to the comic or one of the two. Hey, I want you to look into this Joe Biden's son. This guy is a criminal, we think, and he's doing some deals over there that look like they need looking into. And if you do that, we're going to be very generous with our foreign aid.
No, of course.
And that's it. And that's what the whistleblower revealed.
Wait a minute. Is that something akin to the open mic situation where President Obama said to Medvedev, hey, tell Vlad after the election, I have a lot more flexibility. Is that kind of the same thing?
It's exactly the same thing from that perspective that you're coming from. Now, so we can assume that none of this is true, but they're using my favorite thing. Let's listen to a couple and read between the lines. I want you to read between the lines on this one. All right. This is Shields. Shields comes up because they're going to go right to him. And so this is Shields. They're talking about Brooks and Shields, the two Democrats who supposedly reflect the two sides of an argument, but they're both in agreement on everything. On the PBS NewsHour, which has been taken over by the Democrat Party ever since Gwen Ifill left
the planet.
The world.
Yes.
Sorry. But anyway, Shields on whistleblower. Now, see if you can pick up the subtext in this clip, which I think is profound.
Person is alleging that he knows that the president, in a conversation with, now we think it's the president of Ukraine, urged the president of Ukraine, Mark, to investigate Joe Biden's son. And we have there's still the president denies it, and others do. But now we have several news outlets backing up the story. And I was just handed, and you've seen it, a statement by Joe Biden. He says, if these reports are true, there's truly no bottom to President Trump's willingness to abuse his power and abuse our country. This behavior is particularly abhorrent because it exploits the foreign policy of our country and undermines our national security for political purposes. How seriously should we be taking these allegations?
I think they're enormously serious. And the fact that the Wall Street Journal is leading this story along with the New York Times, the Washington Post. But this is not false news or fake news or anything of the sort. It's not a political vendetta of any sort.
Wait a minute. There was a lot there that he said that was confusing. Was the Washington Post is on it? What was he saying about that? Or does it have nothing to do with the subtext?
No, that was the subtext.
Yeah.
The subtext is the following, and I want you to play the clip again. It's short enough. But the subtext is the following. The Wall Street Journal's leading the way. So this isn't the Washington Post or the New York Times who are full of crap, he's saying in the subtext. Who are full of crap and have a political vendetta. No, it's not those papers.
No.
It's the Washington. It's the new. It's the Washington
Wall Street Journal.
The Wall Street Journal. I'm just confusing myself. The Wall Street Journal. They're okay. They're not a bunch of douchebags like the New York Times and the Washington Post. That's what he's saying.
You're right. Let's hear it again.
For political purposes, how seriously should we be taking these allegations?
I think they're enormously serious. And the fact that the Wall Street Journal is leading this story along with the New York Times, the Washington Post. But this is not false news or fake news or anything of the sort. It's not a political vendetta of any sort.
I think that's a keeper, this clip. We should keep that around. That's a good one. You know what? No, I'm going to give you a clip of the day for that because it's a good catch.
Clip of the day.
That's worth it. That's worth it. That is the essence of what No Agenda is about. Catch these people just telling the truth. It always wants to slip out, doesn't it?
So he goes on here. This is part two. This is a short little clip. He continues a little bit with his thinking.
This is really serious. This is totally exploiting the national security putting at risk the national security of the United States.
Please.
For narrow political personal interests.
How is it putting the national security at risk?
If, in fact, the reports are true. And I guess the most disturbing thing to me, Judy, was the president accused the whistleblower, who, at enormous risk and required considerable courage, of being an extreme partisan.
Bullshit.
Now, let's just talk about, from what I understand, this whistleblower is not really a whistleblower, didn't do anything under whistleblower protections, but once it turned out that the leaker was identified, and that probably came through the Wall Street Journal, then the leaker goes to, of all things, the Department of Justice and says, I'm a whistleblower. But that's not how it works. You're supposed to go to the Inspector General. There's a whole path for that. And yes, we have good things in place for reasonably good procedures in place for whistleblowers. But that's someone. NSA. Well, and that's someone who messed it up big time. Something went very wrong with this leaking.
So now I want to point out what seems to be I wouldn't call it a meme, but a word you're going to start hearing, because it's just to try to get you in the mood. This is a mood word. I consider it a mood word. And you might be able to pick it up on the S. Brooks response. This is Brooks coming with his supposedly, we have these two guys who are supposed to be arguing with each other, and one's supposed to take this side, one side, and the other takes the other side. They can't do it. They can't bring themselves to do it. So they're in total agreement constantly because they're both a bunch of Democrat lackeys. And so here we go. Here's Brooks's response. And see if you can pick up this one word.
The people in the White House were making fun of all this. Are we looking at something where it's going to be a he said situation going forward?
Well, presumably the call was listened to by others and recorded. So, I'm not sure it was recorded, but it was certainly listened to. These calls it's not just a one-on-one call. There's people on the line. I think it is pretty grave. Most presidents go into the White House thinking, I'm here to serve the office. I'm here to serve America. Donald Trump is using America to serve him.
Grave. I like the word grave.
Yeah, and that's it, too. And because Shields also used the word, I have just a short clip of him using the same exact word to describe the situation as grave. Oh, it's grave.
I think it's enormously grave.
No, so they're not
enormously grave.
They're not even in agreement. They're using the same script.
Yes, the same script. So I think we're going to start seeing the word grave, because grave is if you think about it from a public relations perspective, it's a great word to start throwing in there, because for one thing, it's the word grave is, the first thing to think about is a tombstone. Yeah, this is the end of Trump.
Yeah, grave.
He's done, because it's a grave situation. So I think they're going to start using this word to try to get us to think that way. But in fact, Shields is already introducing the impeachment thing, and this is the last 8-second clip, and this is how he finished his little spiel.
If it's true, Judy, then I don't see how the Democrats can back off on impeachment.
Yeah, no, that's obvious, because AOC, whose nickname is Sandy, by the way, I think we should start calling her Sandy.
Sandy?
Yes, in high school.
Sandy, like the little squirrel on SpongeBob?
More like, well, when I hear Sandy, people of my age. Why you think of SpongeBob, I think of Grease. But okay, Sandy, yes, Sandy. That's what she was in high school, Sandy.
Sandy was a very popular name when I was in school. Mm-hmm. And throughout, obviously, it stayed, it's grammar school and high school, because the girls were always the same age. And because as I got older, they did. So Sandy is and I think Sandy is a type.
Totally.
Like Linda. Linda's a lot of.
It's not AOC. Sandy does not conjure up AOC in my mind's eye.
Exactly. It conjures up a blonde surfer girl.
Mm-hmm. So,
maybe over the hill, maybe a little too much sun, because skin's kind of leathery.
A little leathery.
Yeah, a little leathery. She's been too much sun. She doesn't even know she's a sun worshiper named Sandy. She keeps her hair dyed bleach blonde. Make sure there's no gray in there.
Her nails are perfect.
Good, nice nails, and she's puts on a hell of a party and knows how to set a table.
We're gonna die, you and I. People are gonna kill us. The end of us. Can't be talking like that.
Just saying, it's Sandy. How many? I don't know. Do we have any Sandys that listen to the show? They can write in and tell us if we're right.
Yeah, send pictures. So we can
send pictures.
So Sandy tweets out. Sandy says, at this point, the bigger national scandal isn't the president's law-breaking behavior. It's the Democratic Party's refusal to impeach him. You can tell that she lost her brain, the guy who left.
Oh, no, that guy, when she's dead
in the water. Yeah, she's dead in the water. She got nothing. And especially with Ilhan Omar lying real low these days. Of course, she's in some trouble. So the squad is kind of headless. But this is the thing, and a lot of it was based off of Rudy. People lost their crap over Rudy Giuliani on the Cuomo Kid show with his giant head next to everybody else. It's a short clip, but it's just like, whoa, okay, so yeah, it sounds like exactly as I explained it went down.
Did you ask the Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden?
No, actually, I didn't. I asked the Ukraine to investigate the allegations that there was interference in the election of 2016 by the Ukrainians for the benefit of Hillary Clinton, for which there already is a court finding.
Never asked anything about Hunter Biden.
This, by the way, is kind of, even I glossed over it. That was part of their message, was to say, hey, there was some stuff going on here, and you guys need to know about it. You know who's from Ukraine? The founders of CrowdStrike. You know, the guys who got the DNC server, not the FBI. So, there's stuff going on there. Ukraine is not in a vacuum on its own.
Ukrainians for the benefit of Hillary Clinton, for which there already is a court finding.
You never asked anything about Hunter Biden. You never asked anything about Joe Biden.
The only thing I asked about Joe Biden is to get to the bottom of how it was that Lutsenko, who was appointed, dismissed the case against Antak.
So you did ask Ukraine to look into Joe Biden?
Of course I did.
You just said you didn't.
No, I didn't ask him to look into Joe Biden. I asked him to look into the allegations that related to my client, which tangentially involved Joe Biden in a massive bribery scheme.
Rudy.
So, Cuomo Kid's head explodes over that. But Joe Biden was very clear about exactly what happened. Some of you have seen this, some of you haven't, but this is the No Agenda show. We like rolling out whatever evidence we have. And this was just a regular one of those Aspen sessions, where, you can ask whatever you want, and it's a small captive audience, and they always video it, and most people don't watch it because it's boring. But here's Joe telling you exactly how it happened with the usual Joe flair.
And so I got Ukraine, and I remember going over convincing our team or others to convince.
He says, so I got Ukraine. That sounds. I was assigned Ukraine. I had to do the dirty work over there. Isn't this like a gang?
Ukraine. You got, Hey, Joe, I got Russia. I got Ukraine. Okay, well, you got Ukraine, so you go over there, and you got Russia. You go over there. Yeah.
Hey, Joe, don't your kid have something in Ukraine? All right, you're on point on Ukraine. Go, Joe.
And so I got Ukraine, and I remember going over convincing our team or others to convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him.
That's right,
I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid at the time. Well, there's still,
Notice he says at the time, because it's not quite as rosy as Joe would like it, this cover-up.
They put in place someone who was solid at the time. Well, there's still, they made some genuine, substantial changes institutionally and with people. But in one of the three institutions, there's now some backsliding. The courts are there, and yes, and they had made that commitment that they wouldn't do that. And so when we left, the first thing I spent a lot of time, as did Mike, because this was his territory as well, and people like Charlie Kupchan and Victoria. And anyway, there were a lot of good people we had working on this.
Yeah, Victoria, who said, fuck the EU. Yats wants in. They'll do whatever we tell them. Come on, Joe's coming in. We're getting cover from Joe. Well, we played it all the phone calls. And, I don't even really mind that much. I mean, Jared Kushner's all over the world cutting deals. And yeah, of course, Trump's going to have hotels in Iran and North Korea. It doesn't bother me that much.
This is pretty obvious at this point.
I mean, if you really want to talk about some bull crap, then go after this Win Red operation that Jared Kushner's a part of, who text me twice a day asking for $100 for the president. And they got quite an operation going. Really, really amazing. And and skimming 8% off the top. And it's, of course, son of a bitch, son of a Biden. That's what it is.
Son of a
Biden. That should be the new swear word. Son of a Biden. So Joe's in trouble with that, though. Because that sounds completely like the prosecutor was being nasty around his kid, and he got him fired.
Yeah.
Fine.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, but don't... Yeah.
But, let's don't pay attention. It's Trump.
Trump.
Let's get him impeached.
Gosh, golly. Yeah. Well, meanwhile, Nancy Pelosi, no, the people don't want it. They have no case.
No, they have no case, A.
They really don't.
The people don't want it.
No.
I mean, a lot of Democrats do, but that's probably the minority of them.
Yeah.
And they know it's a setup. It's just a setup. It's just to give Trump more publicity. He's like he's unbelievable getting attention and publicity and free. Like they said, it was like $5 billion worth of free media
per day
when he ran against Hillary.
Per day. It was fantastic.
He's getting nothing but more free media with these people, and they don't understand
it. They don't see it. No,
they can't resist. It's like irresistible.
Yeah, it's baffling. It's truly baffling. And you see all these puppets, like Schiff all of a sudden pops up again. We haven't heard from Schiff for months. This is horrible.
You know why? This apparently is as you get older, it takes longer and longer to shed your skin.
Well, Nadler is on deck for that, man. He needs to take a few days off to shed it and get the new skin in.
Yeah,
and reptiles, crazy. And then we had. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to go on with where you were headed.
No, I was just going to change to a different topic, so I didn't know if you had something else.
Well, I was going to kind of switch to the humorous part of the show.
Oh, okay.
Which is about half the show, but I've decided I'm going to try to do the gaffe of the week from Joe Biden.
Joe Biden, okay.
Because that's my assignment. But I also have this week, I do have a stupid clip from your buddy Sheila Jackson.
My buddy, just because she's in Texas.
Texans know each other, aren't they all friends?
I denounce that woman. I saw this clip. I saw this clip. This is one of our producers that turned us on to us, didn't they? This is a great clip, and the for the people who know anything, and most people know more about guns than Sheila Jackson Lee, Texas woman.
Well, I have a deconstruction of what she says, and I think I know what happened, but because if you listen to what she does and what she says,
at the very beginning, sure. Yeah.
It's obvious what happened, but this is her. Somebody caught her in the hall, and she's complaining about assault weapons. And so here's what she had to say about the AR-15.
I don't know what else it takes, but I don't believe that we can stop at the door of the United States House. I believe there will have to be an emergence of members of the House flooding the United States Senate for Senator McConnell to understand that these initiatives today, my gun storage bill, my bill that I've introduced dealing with the caliber weapon, I've held an AR-15 in my hand. I wish I had it. It is as heavy as 10 boxes that you might be moving. And the bullet that is utilized, a 50 caliber, these kinds of bullets, need to be licensed and do not need to be on the streets.
Let me get this straight. The AR-15 shoots 50 cal. Is that what she's saying?
50 caliber bullets, which need to be licensed.
Yes.
And the rifle apparently weighs 10 boxes of
moving stuff.
Moving stuff. Which
somebody put a 50 caliber in her hands.
Somebody put a 50 caliber machine gun.
Yeah, exactly.
Which are heavy. AR-15, if anyone's ever been around one or shot one, you could lift it up with your pinky. It's a very light weapon.
Well, hold on. You talk and I'll go get mine. I'll check.
Now, it's a very light weapon. And so what she's describing is a machine gun. Somebody said, oh, yeah, they were putting her on. They were kidding her.
Okay, I got it.
Oh, yeah. Have you ever held an AR-15, Sheila? Oh, no, I never have. Oh, we've got one here. Look at this. And they drop a machine gun in her arms, which probably weighs about 50 pounds or whatever.
Yeah.
And as you look at the bullets, look how big they are.
So
oh my God, she all freaked out. She weighs so much. So she's an idiot.
So I got my AR-15 and I'm holding it by my pinky. The pinkies. I mean, you can hold it. It's a little on the heavy side for that, but it's
not
10 bucks.
Your two fingers, your pointing finger and middle finger, you could easily hold a gun with that.
Yeah, you're right.
You can't do that with a machine gun.
How come the 50 caliber doesn't fit? It's so odd.
The 50 caliber. I think shoots a 23 or 22, 223, I think.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. Typical.
So she's a moron.
Oops.
Somebody pulled a prank on her. That's right. The way I see it, somebody pulled a prank on her and she fell for it. Now on to Joe Biden.
Oh, gaffe of the week. We need a jingle. We need a jingle.
Somebody.
Yep.
Joe Biden's gaffe of the week. This is Joe Biden's gaffe of the week about prisons.
Yes, and by the way, in prison, the determination should be that your sexual identity is defined by what you say it is, not what, in fact, the prison says it is. And in that case, you should be entitled also to OGBYN. Anyway, you didn't ask that question, but you're not likely to either, I guess.
So, Joe, listen, I got to do a little briefing. I know it's going to sound weird, Joe, but someone's going to ask you if women who are really men, who want to be women, who are transgendered, if they can be in the, Orange is the New Black, Joe, you know that? Okay, they want to be there, and you're going to say that's okay. And then he goes out and does that, and he said, you can get an OBGYN. I was like, what?
Yeah, OBGYN.
I can see
so
that.
What he's saying is that anyone can say so in other words, you're any male. You don't even have to be. You just identify as a female. You don't have to even be going, changing your sex or anything. You have no operation. You're just some dude.
Yeah.
And you get to choose your own sex, and you go to that jail.
Yeah.
But there won't be anybody in the men's prisons.
Of course not. Ah, yes, I identify differently. Of course.
So the guy.
But this is what's sad about it, because he's just going along with whatever someone tells him. He's not really in it. It's abusive at this point. It is. It's really abusive.
You're abusing the elderly.
I mean, I don't want to be ageist about it, but yes, I mean, some people who are in their 70s, get a little more frazzled than others. Some people in their 50s get more frazzled. Joe, it's not appropriate.
You can compare him to the older person in this group of
old people,
competitors, which is Bernie. Bernie's a couple of years older than Joe, and he's much sharper.
Yeah, but didn't Bernie just get voted off the island by everybody this weekend?
No, what happened? In fact, I have a new. If people go to the Contenders website, I'm going to send a note out.
Wait a minute, what is this? What is this Contenders website? What are you talking
I got this essay. That's a constant essay about what I think who's going to be taking the nomination.
Yeah, but what is this Contenders website? What happened to Cosmic Weenie?
It's not a website. It's a page. It's a PDF file or HTML.
It's a Cosmic Weenie thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Cosmic Weenie.
Oh, okay. It's on It's the Contenders on Cosmic Weenie. You scared me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Cosmic Weenie.
Yes.
Let's get that straight. So I concluded now that everybody except those three, Biden, Warren, and Bernie, are off. They're gone. They're done. There's nothing they can do. They fell off the face of the earth. Kamala, especially, her numbers are off. They're over. So you have those three left, but Bernie, we already know they're not going to let him do it because he's, too many reasons. So there's two people left, and it's Warren and Biden. And the ticket I'm predicting is Biden-Warren because they can get along, and it would be a ticket that has man-woman balance, but it's got no geographical balance.
It's like the Democrat Party, with all their social justice and real justice. And Justice Now came up with the two oldest white people they could find.
Two old white people from the Northeast.
These two white people should be doing a podcast. That's about it. Like us. We know our place. We know our place.
So they're both from the Northeast. At least you and I, we've always been geographically, except for a very short period of time, geographically separate. So it give us a little more angularity to the podcast. You're from Texas, which is pretty alien to California in some ways. Or you were in England for a while. You were here. You were there. But they're both like neighbors.
Yeah.
I mean, he's from Delaware and she's from Massachusetts.
It's close enough. I had a disappointing moment this weekend with my favorite candidate, Marianne Williamson. I know that, she has no chance, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I voted for the Build the Dome in Austin guy. I mean, I vote for people I believe in. Marianne Williamson had a good rap. I liked it. But then she was asked a question on this MSNBC climate, what is this called? MSNBC Climate Forum. Climate Forum about nuclear. I believe in nuclear. I've kept up with nuclear technology. We have many professionals and experts who are producers of this show.
And if you look into fourth gen,
backyard nukes, fourth gen, there's all kinds of stuff happening.
I will say this too: most people bitching and moaning about nuclear are bitching and moaning about the technology of the 50s, the 1950s.
Yes. Yeah. So here's Marianne Williamson, who could have done a lot better on this one.
So you say that in your environmental crisis plan that...
I have to mention, I cut out all the long pauses because I just didn't want it to take 2 minutes.
You want the United States to stop all use of nuclear energy. What do you identify as the problems with nuclear energy? And what do you say to those who think it simply gets a bad reputation?
Well, I know Germany had said at one point, we're just going no nuclear. But then when they said no nuclear, there was a problem because they had a hard time keeping up with the other standards that they agreed to. What is wrong with that? If something goes wrong with nuclear energy, I don't think people have really stopped to take in the horror. See, we need an integrated politics. We need to go beyond hard data. We need to go beyond just thinking about the facts.
Hey. She's taking a page out of Biden's playbook. Facts don't matter. Hard data doesn't matter. No.
Horror. See, we need an integrated politics. We need to go beyond hard data. We need to go beyond just thinking about the facts. I want you to think about this with your hearts. If something goes wrong there, what are we even talking about? How can we even consider it? And so what? Maybe we'd all be a little warmer, a little cool. I mean, Americans, we have to decide. That's the problem I have with nuclear.
Okay, well, no. Get out. She has no... Besides, she could just say, I really haven't looked that much into nuclear. I don't know any of the new technologies, but I'm still kind of wary about the way it was portrayed in the past in movies like The China Syndrome and the documentary HBO did on Chernobyl. People think that's a documentary. It was completely dramatized. It's not a documentary. So she's still in the, we'll all die if something happens. Fukushima. People died from the tsunami is what happened. Okay. 3 Mile Island is shutting down for good, though.
Can I mention something else that she actually put in there?
Sure.
Why do all the climate alarmists, which is the word I like, to promote, science, even though they're talking about computer models and computer simulations, they don't even know what that means, but that's okay. Mm-hmm. But they're going to promote science. It's whatever the science says. The science about nuclear is extremely positive and formidable and established. But she herself says, well, I don't care what the science or the facts. Who cares about that? And it's like, wait, make up your mind. Are you going to be all in? If you're going to be all in on science, then
do some science.
You have to be all in on nuclear.
Yeah, when I was in the Netherlands for Lex's book. Remember, I was on that TV show with the kind of the hoity-toity political talk show that's on late night every night. And on that same show was Jesse Klaver. He's a leading left-wing, one of the young, hot left-wing politicians who in the Netherlands are now talking about trillions of euros that they need to spend, this little country, they need to spend on saving the climate. And after the show, I'm like, hey, man, have you ever looked into the new nuclear devices? You know, they eat the waste of the old guys. They eat their own poop. It's like, you know, there is no waste. And, oh, I'll look into that. Fuck, what? You just spent an hour on TV talking about science and you've not looked into this? Well, because it's not about, it's not, they don't really care. And Marianne Williamson is off my list. Off my list.
Well, it's about time
bad
you came
answer.
to your senses.
Bad answer. It was bad.
I only liked her because she was funny.
She's funny. I'm not against a little bit of feel good. I think in fact, our politicians could use a little bit more of that. But then to say, oh, well, now use your heart, ignore the facts. Take it a little too far. This is not going to work. And de Blasio was out. He's done.
Was he ever not out?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that 3 Mile Island is shutting down for good this Friday. Yeah. And, of course, we've talked about this many times. 3 Mile Island, there was a reactor event. No one died. You know, they shut it down. They had 2 more. It did happen the same week or within 3 days of the movie The China Syndrome coming out, which just like when Reagan had to close all the mental hospitals, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was right there to solidify our thinking. You got to think wonder if that's coincidence. But the reason...
Nurse Ratched.
Juicy.
Who looks a little like Virginia or Newland, the Newland woman.
Little bit. Juicy fruit, my favorite. But the reason Unit 1 is shutting down is not because of any problem other than money, because natural gas is kicking its ass. They can't compete.
Yeah, well, we're getting a lot of natural gas from the frackers.
Yeah. Not a fan of that personally, but...
No. Anyway.
Yes. Oh, I do have some...
on a side note.
Yeah.
I did pick up... Oh, there goes my phone. Why don't you explain something to our great listeners as I go take this phone off the hook?
Okay. Well, great listeners. I don't usually talk to you. I usually talk to John. I let you guys listen in.
Yeah, it stopped ringing.
Okay.
All right. So let's go to... I ran into this clip. There's a guy. There's a lot of weird... There's a lot of weird stuff ever since you got the muck racking or whatever the thing was that you called it. I brought it up at the table.
Mukbang.
I said, yeah, that's what we told you about. And I said, yeah, well, I did bring it up on the show. I didn't have any clips. I brought on the show about the guy who ate, and moaned and groaned about his eating. And then they turned into 2 or 3 other things.
Wait, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Were they familiar with the term BJ?
They didn't bring VJ up. No, I didn't ask.
It's not VJ, it's BJ. It was the broadcast jockey. The mukbang broadcast jockeys, BJs.
As far as they're concerned, mukbang is way, way, way over the hill.
Oh, okay. Well, it makes sense that we come in now.
There's a new thing called I think it's AMRS. I think there was Chowder.
No, I did this on the last show. ASMR. That's the
ASMR. That's where they whisper.
Yeah, that's what we did. Don't you remember?
Well, the other one. There's another one that the real connoisseurs are into now. Besides the whisperers, which I think I was watching.
John,
they showed
it's
me a bunch of these.
No. You're misunderstanding. It's not just whispering. It's making. I'll give you an example. It's like. Right, and I'm going to rub on some paper.
Yeah, I know this. They make a lot of racket. They scratch things and try to make your skin crawl. But that's kind of like at its peak, and we're at peak. Whatever.
Peak ASMR.
Peak ASMR. Now the other thing that's kind of cropping up are the DIDs.
The DIDs?
Yeah, you don't know about the DIDs.
Maybe, and I don't know. How do you spell that? DIDS? DIDDS?
DID.
DID. Okay, all right.
Dissociative something disorder. You're dissociative. It's where you have split personalities. So this is kind of like took the place of what the Tourette's guys used to be. I had to show them the Tourette's guys that are on the YouTubes. There's a million Tourette's guys expressing themselves.
I've met your kids. They didn't see me. I wasn't good enough. They had to go to YouTube.
You're not even close.
Oh, okay.
You're like you're borderline
normal.
You're borderline a Tourette's phony.
Oh God. Okay.
No offense.
Oh man, I'm a wannabe.
You're a Tourette's wannabe compared to the really great Tourette's people. I mean, this show would be so entertaining, but the DITS people have split personalities or multiple personality disorder, which is what it used to be called. Now it's dissociative disorder.
Oh,
and so there's women on there. It's actually very compelling that have a lot of them are fakes, by the way. You can tell. You can kind of, I guess the game is you watch them go on, and then you try to determine if they're a fake or not.
Mm.
But it became like an obsession. So I'm watching these things. I'm saying these poor people, and then so you run into a lot of shrinks that are in the same streams.
Mm.
And I ran into this one guy who, and this is the clip I'm leading to in a long roundabout way. This one guy who talks about low. He talks about a high IQ, low IQ, and he says what we don't talk about is emotional quotient, low EQ, high EQ.
Yeah.
And he has a list of things that make you a low EQ or high EQ person. I'm probably falling into the low EQ, it seems.
Your negative interest rates on your EQ, my friend.
Your negative personality.
Yeah.
So, but he did bring this one of his. He has his 9 of these, or 9 or 12 of these things. He says if you say this or you do this, you're low EQ. I can get the list. I can read it later. But you have to listen to this one. I think this is number 6. This is the low EQ. Low EQ people. In other words, you're insensitive and you have emotionally. You're just
you're emotional
you're
deficit, compassionate deficit.
Yeah, you're no good.
Okay.
Listen to this.
Now, a 6th one, and this is kind of an interesting. A person with low EQ might say something to the effect of, everything is great, right? Now, let me give you an example of what I mean there. It might be that I'll say, hey, you've got that new job. Everything's great with it, right? And when I throw that word right on the end of it, the implication is there's a certain way that I want to hear you respond. I want you to tell me that things are going well. And then if you come back and say, well, it's not all that great, then it makes you look like, well, then you're doing things wrong and you're not giving the right reaction. And so you're more of the negative kind of person. I, of course, am being positive, right? And it has a real subtle put down towards the person who might not give the correct response.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, and so of course I thought of Mike Morrell immediately, who can't not say right at the end of every assertion he makes, right?
Right. Wow. That's interesting. Well, we kind of knew that. We know why people are saying it, and the way I read it was not from an EQ standpoint, but an IQ standpoint, because where did I hear this the most was in Silicon Valley. We have to uptalk and end with right. So we know that the transistors are really, it's the future, and the Moore's law is dead, right? Which to me was always a way of steamrolling over someone saying, you don't know shit. I know everything, right? But I guess you could look at it.
What he says it's an EQ thing, and it's an insult. A subtle insult to you because you have the person, and Silicon Valley would be filled with people with low EQs. I mean, they can't even look women in the face.
True.
So you'd end up with this right phenomenon where you say right at the end of every sentence. And I think, by the way, in that same category is okay. When people say,
yes,
well,
yes.
It's this way, okay? And I went over to the store, okay? And then I went and bought some food, okay? That is very similar to me. And it's also would be low EQ. And I think is also falls into the same category.
Yeah, came from there, sure.
And I think those are all people who say, and you see that a lot on sports where the football player comes out, he can't really express himself.
Yeah.
But football players are low EQ. Silicon Valley people are low EQ. All these people are emotionally damaged.
They need to be
So
chipped.
It makes nothing but sense. And then you have a guy that's a CIA lifer who, can't say anything without saying right at the end of a sentence, which is Morell.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought it was interesting. I said, wow, that's the explanation I haven't heard.
Now, here we have ham radio, guys. Ham radio is the public service network of last resort. When the apocalypse comes, we're the guys who are going to save the world, right?
See?
Right.
This is Jill Abrams does the best one.
Right. Right.
Hey, about No Agenda Hams, I have good news.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, as you know, I'm a community organizer. Next stop presidency for me.
Or at least mayor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, mayor of Austin. That'll work. So I mentioned that I was getting back into the ham stuff. Ham, right? And I did. I've got D-Star, and so I was talking to a couple people. I said we're on Reflector 33 Charlie. Anyway. This kind of got a life of its own, as I hoped it would, at noagendasocial.com. There's a sign-up link for noagendasocial.com in every show notes now. I put it there so you can join in the fun. And Mike he's Kilo 9 Mike Lima Sierra. He suggested All-Star Link, which I had...
Frequency mode.
You got your ham radio. Nice. That sounds like your ICOM. That's your ICOM. You got it. What is it? D51?
No, it's not the ICOM. The ICOM I keep in the glove box of the car.
All right. This is your Baofeng?
Baofeng.
Yeah. Anyway, so so I'll just give you an example. Let me see. Kilo 5 Alpha Charlie Charlie. Any hams there on 33 Charlie? So let's see if anyone's out there. Anyway, so we're talking a bit, and then Mike mentions this K9 MLS. He says we've got to do All-Star, which is a derivative. Here we go. Who's this? Oh, I missed it. Which is a derivative of Asterix. Do you remember Asterix, the PBX, open source PBX technology?
No, I do not.
Oh, it was a big thing back in the late night. Yeah, it was every companies like, oh, we don't have to buy expensive phone switching. We can do VoIP SIP. I think it never took off because of the SIP, but actually it's used a lot and it's highly adaptable, highly programmable. So bottom line, we're setting up a network which is backhauled on the internet, but you can essentially connect it to anything since it's Asterix, where anyone with a $25 Chinese handheld rig can participate. All you need to do is get your ham license, and people they always find that daunting, but I have to remind them, if Nellie Orr could get her ham license, I'm sure you can too. It's not that hard. And we're going to build out.
Very easy.
And we're going to build this out. It's going to be on 6
and you
meters.
can take the test over and over.
Of course. It's going to be on 6 meters. We're going to do HF. It'll be on VHF, UHF. And right now we seem to be Well, Mike and his guys up there in Minnesota are putting together a rig. They're going to send it to me so I don't have to do all the setup. And then we'll have the node. We'll have the master node. And everybody can link in, man. And you'll have a map and you can look where everybody is. And we're going to save the world.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not quite sure why, other than it's the same thing as a meetup. Basically, it's a meetup. There's people and of course it's, as the millennial here would say, it's kind of like a creepy chat room. Yeah, that's true too.
Creepy chat room. Well, she's liberal.
It's a creepy chat room. No, but it's nice. It's civil. It's fun. And there are women there, too, and very welcome. We have lots of female hams who are producing the No Agenda show. Speaking of that,
I think women should all become hams.
I think it's...
And like I've said before, anyone who listens to this show and particularly likes the OTG experience...
Exactly.
Can probably pass the test without even studying.
You can even, from your own node or any other node, you can dial a phone number. You have to go over, but you can actually make phone calls. It's an incredible system. And we'll have it streaming on Broadcastify and stuff like that. So where this will go, nobody knows. Last time we tried it, it kind of petered out. I think I went through a divorce or something and a whole bunch of stuff changed. But now the technology has changed. It's better. And I look forward to meeting more of our No Agenda hams all across No Agenda Nation. And with that, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in channel 33C, John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also, in the morning to all ships at sea, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
Yes, in the morning to our trolls over there at noagendastream.com. It's also known as the Troll Room. This is where today we have 1,129 people listening along on a Sunday. Why are they doing that? Because they can. And you can sit there. There's almost no rules. You can do whatever you want. But most of it seems to be very positive and contributes very much to the entire experience of the No Agenda show with all the people who are making that work, especially Void Zero, Sir Bemrose, Darren O. Everybody's there. NoAgendaStream.com. Then for our art, 1174 was the previous episode on Thursday. The title of that was Soros Jugend. Didn't get as much pushback on the title as I expected we would.
I didn't expect to get any pushback.
I thought a couple people would find it a little rude.
How is it rude?
Well, calling an old Jewish guy, associating him with the Hitler Youth. I can see
he was the guy who worked for the Nazi SS.
You said it, I didn't.
He did.
Yes.
He admitted it.
Yeah, well, he
said thought it was the best years of his life.
He liked we must have that clip. Hold on.
It's horrible, that guy.
What was that Soros? Was it the trains he was putting? Wasn't he people putting on the train?
Yeah, he used to, okay, you group, you go into boxcar 5. You, boxcar 5. You, boxcar 6. You, 6. Over this way.
I wish I could find that offhand. It's out on the internet. It's definitely around. I should see if you could find it.
Yeah, so I don't think it would offend anybody. It makes nothing but sense, actually.
It might offend him.
Oh, he doesn't care.
Yeah, you're right.
I laugh in your general direction.
As for the artwork, after every show, right after we're done pretty much, we'll go and look at what has come in at noagendaartgenerator.com. And there were multiple pieces, but we both thought that what Darren O'Neill did just blew us away. It was such a good piece. This was the Biden's corn pops. And the ear of corn with the bad dude with the straight razor. I don't know. It just completely worked. It was a
pretty piece, and it was
pretty piece.
When you use yellow as the background, it always pops.
Yeah. Well, I always like that part for sure. It's always good for clickage. And people looking at stuff in their app. Hey, what happened there? Hey, the art changed. Is that a new show? Oh, it's a new episode. And then they play. Before you know it, they're in. We've sucked them in. And that's how it works with our Value for Value network. Everybody is working towards the same goal to get people in, to keep them engaged, and hit them in the mouth as many ways as we can. Darren O'Neill, thank you very much. Great job. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com is where you can find all the art, participate in making art, and a lot of it goes other places, too. Newsletters, people post it all over Twitter. NoAgendaShop.com puts it on mugs, T-shirts, hats. Boy, No Agenda Nation is vast. Thank you, Darren. Now, our executive producers and associate executive producers for this episode, these are the people who came in $200 above or $300 and above, and we like to give them the special credits they deserve, just like Hollywood, without the hookers and blow.
We're starting off with a $700 donation from Daleville, Virginia, from Laura J. Joe. Now, I have to spell her name so people can realize because I don't know what kind of a name this is, and I don't think she says.
Polish, she
but
says.
It's spelled D-Z-I-A-D-Z-I-O, and the pronunciation is J-Jo.
I think it would be J-Jo. J-Jo.
It says she's got a J-Jo.
I know, but that's for you. I come from the region.
It's Polish. It means grandpa. Yeah. So you're from Poland.
From the region. I didn't say I'm from Poland. I'm from the region.
What region? You're nowhere near Poland.
I was in Europe. That's the region.
Yeah, to the EU thinkers.
Mm-hmm.
I knew this was you. Yeah, huh.
J-Jo.
Hey, John and Adam, I'm such a douchebag, but hopefully paid my penance today. This would make me a dame, which I should.
Whoa.
Which
Nice.
I should have earned years ago if I was truly worthy. Anyhow, I love you guys and would be lost without the best podcast in the universe, as I hear in the Mueller report. Anyhow, no jingles, but some jobs karma would be appreciated. Also, if any producer's more talented than I could come up with a "There's Nothing But a Dame" jingle. Huh. There's nothing but a dame jingle.
She has some direction here.
I would be forever grateful. My dear departed mom would probably not be an NA fan, but may have been converted with a twist on Rodgers and the Rodgers and Hammerstein tune.
So what tune is that? Nothing but what tune? What song is that? Nothing but a dame.
Nothing but I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. I like Broadway musicals, but not to that point.
Was it Nothing But a Daydream? What was the original?
No, I don't think so. Anyhow, maybe somebody in the chat room knows. Anyhow, you two, she says anyhow a lot. Anyhow, you two have made consumption of the news close to palatable, and you deserve extra special kudos for that. Soon to be Dame Laura. Thank you, Dame Laura.
Hold on a second. She has she's helping us out here. Give me a second. This is from Rodgers and Hammerstein. There's nothing like a dame.
Oh, there's nothing like a dame.
Yeah, it's from the movie South Pacific. And who's in that? Let's move it forward.
Sunlight on the sand, we got moonlight on the sea.
Yeah, that'll bring him in. That'll roll him in. Hey, I'll see you at the round table when you become Dame Laura. Very excited about that. Good to have you here, Giaggio. Laura Giaggio.
I would think there's nothing like a dame would be from Guys and Dolls or something. A musical like that is where it fits in better. Anyway, Mark Jasper's next on the list.
Hold on. She needs her jobs, Karma.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got Karma.
Mark Jasper, $500. I'm alive. Everything is possible. Omega Project.
What does that mean? Hey, thank you.
No idea.
Mark Jasper.
That's the message.
It's okay. Message passed, message received. Thank you.
I think the I'm alive refers to the computer becoming alive.
Oh.
Well, if all computers become alive and donate $500, we're in good shape.
Yep.
Sir Robert Clayson, meanwhile, $354.64. Gentlemen and honorable lords of the best of the oldest still running podcast in the universe, I hereby put forth my contribution of 35464 Thaler, thereby upgrading my own self to that of a baron. I would like to claim Lapland, encompassing the northern parts of Norway, Sweden, Finland, and also parts of Russia as my territory.
All right.
I approve, if approved, yeah. Have you ever been to Lapland?
No.
I have. All the Laplanders look exactly like Robin Williams. It's the strangest thing you've ever seen. If approved, I will henceforth be referred to as Sir Robert Shining Baron of Lapland. If available, I would humbly like to request that reindeer and cloudberries be added. Oh, cloudberries, yeah. Will be added to the assortment of delicacies served at the round table.
Yes, Sir Robert, I have indeed ordered those, and they will be at the round table for you and for the other knights and Dame that we have today, as for your title change. And I think we're okay with the Baron of Lapland. I don't think we have any issues.
No other Laplanders. No.
All right. And thank you for your courage.
Nathan Miller Foster's next on the list, $350. I'm about to donate and reach knighthood. I want to make sure the note gets to you right, so I'm going to send it after my donation tonight. It's a kind of a rhyme.
Yeah.
It's also my birthday tomorrow.
Good. You got it.
Send another note, you think?
No, I think this is the note.
Oh, it sounds like sounds like a stub, as they like to say in Wikiland.
Well, hold on a second, because Eric did attach something. Let me just double check. Who was that from?
That was Foster. Yeah, he did. He attached a PDF file of some sort.
Yeah, I recall that, and I didn't look at it. Hold on. Why can't I? Why is it not coming up now? What the hell's going on? I don't have his 1175 note anymore. That's odd.
Strange.
Didn't delete it, did I? That would be. Hold on. No, now I got to get to the bottom of this, because if he sent us, here we go. No, I have Nathan. Wait, is it Nathan Miller Foster? Yes. Okay, so we do have it. Hold on. Oh, yes, I do remember this. You know what we usually call these notes? You know what we call them? Yeah, notes. War and Peace.
Oh, War and Peace. He wrote War and Peace.
He really did. It's a very nice note. Here, let me just, for some reason, it's not, let me see if I can open this up. Because he did have a few things that were, shoot, I feel bad we didn't, pre-produce this. Okay, here we go.
We don't pre-produce.
ITM, Podfathers, Crackpot, and Buzzkill. I love the show. It's a huge part of my life in a very positive way. I love listening to the show, the donations, and the sundry contributions from all the producers. Thank you both, Adam and John, and the entire No Agenda family. First of all, I appreciate the people who appreciate this show's entertainment as much as I do. Also, something about a goat. I've got ants, Chipotle, mac and cheese. That's true. And there goes the Zephyr. I've been listening to the show since I hit myself in the mouth immediately after I turned 33. I discovered No Agenda through the Occulture podcast through a donation shout-out there. Interesting.
Can you stop?
Yeah.
What was that term he had? Insane-otainment? What was that?
Entertainment.
Oh.
I think we made that up.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's not what I hoped. Go on.
You hoped it would be better. While in podcast Rome, Occulture was the first show I was interviewed on, twice in fact. First about my writing, The Holy Gift, as I mentioned when I earned an associate executive producer credit for show 1111. The other time I've been on Occulture was talking about the occult and magic in Twin Peaks. I'll be on again soon talking about Tool's new album, Fear Inoculum. So now he goes on for quite a while with this note and talks about many different things. But he does have his night name, and it kind of goes along with his note. His night name will be, because he's getting knighted, Sir Nathan Lee Miller Foster, Chaotic Good Knight of the White Lodge and Blue Orchid of the Gold Heart Mountaintop Queen Directory, Elfstone, and Bearer of the Sword Reforged. And as his roundtable contribution, cannabis and coffee in the following manner, true to Twin Peaks. We take this coffee as Kona coffee, drank black as midnight on a moonless night, with a slip of some post-rock band Mogwai made whiskey and blunt wraps, each an eighth of fine ocean-grown Maui Wowie and juicy JJ mango papaya twist-flavored wraps. You may also call it Kona coffee and Maui Wowie for the round table. Yeah. NJNK, Sir Nathan Lee. Thank you very much, Sir Nathan Lee, and thank you. And so, I guess does he get something today? Is that his?
Is he on the list?
I think so. I've made all kinds of mistakes here.
You put yourself in a hole.
Well, no.
Well, while you're looking into that,
you can continue. I'm going to figure it out.
I will. Go on with Sir Nick of the South Side, Baron of the DMV, and Herndon, Virginia, be our first associate executive producer. Comes in with the fine donation of 23456. Gentlemen, I like a de-douching.
Okay.
You've been de-douched.
With the de-douching for a lapse in providing value. The show is excellent, especially the deep dive into the brand safe content. I'd like some health karma for my in-laws and a Rev L clip. Sir Nick of the South Side, Baron of the DMV.
So Nathan Miller indeed is going to be a knight today, and I am putting his Kona coffee and Maui Wowie at the round table. And what did Sir Nick want? He wanted
Sir Nick wants a
I got a new Al. I got a new Rev Al for him.
And he likes some health karma and a Rev Al clip.
Okay. So the typical Rev Al would be...
But resist, we must, and we will much about that be committed.
But now we have a new one where good old Al is trying to pronounce the word koala. You're familiar with the koala bear?
The little koala bear,
yep.
The bear that carries, even if you pet him, you get chlamydia.
Here's the president meeting with a cola cube.
There you go.
Cola cube. Wow.
You've got karma.
A cola cube. Hear it again.
Here's the president meeting with a cola cube.
Wow.
Yeah, he's great. Good old
That's
Rev
not
Al.
even close.
I got more from Rev Al later today, too.
Good. We'll look forward to that. Sir Brian Barron of Costa Mesa, $233.33. I donated a month ago and asked for jobs karma. Shortly after I made the donation, I got a call for a full-time job in Salt Lake City doing work with people I know and like.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Now I'm asking for relocation and travel karma. This is the greatest podcast in the universe. Brian Barron of Costa Mesa.
I was just going to say, if only you and I could get that kind of job with people we like, wouldn't it be great?
You've got karma.
Next, the lovely Lorraine Converse in West Lynn, Oregon.
Hold on.
I'm surprised anybody even likes me.
Whew, there we go. Yes,
yeah,
sorry.
I am. I'm always stunned by that. Lorraine Converse in West Lynn, Oregon, 222.22. ITM, thank you for your valuable deconstruction. I updated my Twitter settings due to John's great how-to, and I'm waiting to see how the magic the magic algos filter my feed. Thank you for your courage, Lorraine Converse.
Now we have to stop for a second, and I need to say that there is indeed you tweeted another Cosmic Weenie genius bit with complete diagrams on how to do this, and you walked me through it after Thursday's show, and I can tell you that since I did that, nothing has changed.
Yeah, it has changed because I noticed that your retweets of the show were up by at least 50%.
But at some point, we need to go through the items that Twitter thinks I believe I'm interested in, which includes a lot of sports, by the way. Just to show you.
I thought we went over this list with you over the phone because that's why I decided to do that write-up, because I said, maybe I'm not going to tell anymore. It's forget it. I'm just going to write this up. And I sent an email out to the No Agenda newsletter subscribers, and they're the ones who found out about it first, with a detailed description in there how to do this step-by-step. It's complicated, and it's non-intuitive. And so if you don't know how to do it, you'll never figure it out. But we went over yours. You have the most humorous stuff that Twitter thinks you're interested in. It's just beyond me.
And I've been looking at how it works. It really it depends, because I click on a lot of stuff that people send me, so I think that's where it comes from. But if you just look at I'm interested in Android, absolutely not. Behavior and beauty. These are new, John. They keep again. Beyonce. My box for Beyonce is Beyonce's box is checked.
In the least.
I'm not looking at Beyonce.
Yeah, you are.
No, Cardi B.
There's a reason that these things are getting checked. I mean, you have to be doing something.
Drink experience, food experience. Herbs and spices, maybe. Huawei, ice cream, no. Instagram, no, I'm never on Instagram. They finally put MTV, but I unchecked that and they haven't rechecked it. So they agree I'm no longer associated with MTV. Mukbang, oh, I got a mukbang.
Wow,
I got a mukbang.
Were you tweeting about it?
I don't think so.
Well, how did you get on that list? This is very mysterious how some of these things get checked.
Only from YouTube, not from Twitter. I didn't get any of the mukbang from Twitter. Someone may have tweeted me with a mukbang, and that hurts.
That's a possibility. Or they're listening to the show.
Oh, yeah, that could be. And why not? Vaping. I got vaping in there. Reggae.
Yeah. Well, anyway, if people you got the newsletter, you would have gotten the instructions.
Yes.
And it's also amusing. It's a very amusing process to go through and look at what they think you're interested in. It's fascinating.
Yeah, well, we went through the keepers. It was just as good as mine, believe me. Very funny.
Yeah. So this whole thing is screwed up. And now my premise I also wrote a short essay on this. My premise, and I talked to Adam about this, I think that this is done not as shadow banning for political reasons. I think that they're overburdened. I don't think Twitter can do what they promise.
They can't actually
deliver.
They
have to do this because their bandwidth, they're constricted.
Well, it's not
they haven't got the computing power to do all that they say they can do.
Yeah, I thought about this, and first I was kind of dismissive, or I said, well, I don't think about that. But when you look at the amount of people they have and the amount of follows that people have, which I think is substantial. I don't know what the average is, but I'd say people follow hundreds probably on average. You're right. It may just be that they can't actually, they may technically be able to deliver it, but I have a feeling the experience would be so out of whack. And today, or Monday, I think they announced they're now going to do hide replies will be available to you, which I think is going to ruin the product. And the way it works is if I'm the original tweeter and I tweet, I can, and you reply to me with, "Carry you Tourette's dick," then I could hide that so no one else would see that reply, even though they were following that original tweet of mine, which I think ruins it.
Well, it means you can edit.
Kind of, not really an edit.
Well, it's kind of an edit.
No,
it's keeping people.
No,
it's
not.
like letters to the editor. You don't run everyone that shows up.
Right. But that's kind of the beauty of it, is you can yell at other people. And if you're yelling and it doesn't show up, then people are going to stop yelling and the product will go down. That's because
people like the yelling.
Exactly. That's why
it's
they're there.
Entertainment.
That's why they're
most
there.
Most of these social medias are really entertainment vehicles. Yes. You can go, oh, look at that. Well, that got him to shut up. Oh, that guy got burned.
Yes.
He's burned.
That's what... I imagine you doing that. Yes, I imagine you sitting there in your duster and your Crocs. Burned.
Okay. Put a time code there, making something out of
that. Believe me. I'm all
Jennifer Augley's next on the list, and she comes in with $210.25 from Greenup, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And she wrote a note.
Oh, good.
This is our first donation. So let's see this. Okay, her husband's involved. She's not a did person. This is our first, because most of the did people, when they're talking about themselves, they always never me or I.
It's us.
Us and our. Yeah,
nice.
It's very interesting. But this donation of $210.25 is for my husband, Matt. As we celebrate our 10-year marriage on Wednesday, September 25th, my husband hit me in the mouth a little over a year ago while traveling to visit family. Usually when yes, that's the way to do it. You got somebody trapped and you make them listen to the show.
You know what's next? He'll have you trapped in the car and he'll be on the ham radio. Watch. Hey, baby, watch this.
Can you believe that guy's in Cleveland? And while traveling to visit family, usually I would just tune it out, blah, blah, blah. But I found myself starting to sing clips and laughing at things that I, as a borderline SJW, should not have found funny.
Huh.
That's not funny. Thus, so began my love affair for the NA show, and instantly I found my husband and I fighting less and less and less and bonding over your amygdala shrinking sanity. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for saving our marriage and, more importantly, my sanity.
Wow.
The NA family that listens together does, in fact, stay together. I'm proud to announce I'm now a recovering SJW. Yeah. And with that said, I would like to wish my smoking hot husband a happy anniversary. Aww. I couldn't imagine my life without you. Love you, babe.
Aww. That's so
I would
nice.
like to ask the jobs karma for him.
Yes.
As he just graduated with a BFA, Bachelor of Fine Arts, with a concentration on 3D design. Yeah, he's going to have real trouble finding work because his concentration in 3D design and animation and AAS and CAD, CAD. A year early with honors whilst working to support the 4 human resources we added during his past 5 years.
Wow.
To bring the total to 5. Yeah, he better get a job. All of which, all the 5 she's talking about, the 5 kids, love the jingles and sing them. Often, especially my 12-year-old daughter, she likes them the most. Hopefully, the jobs karma works, and the past 5 years, this past 5 years to bring our total to 5, all of which love your jingles. It's okay. I'm sorry, didn't scroll. And this just the first of many donations. Jingle requests. Now she has some jingle requests. I should have read at the beginning. I'll give them to you. But anyway, I thought that was a sweet note.
Yes.
And luckily her husband is in a field. I don't know where they live, but he's in a field of work where he should be employed for the rest of his life and be able to jump jobs if he feels like it.
Nice.
Just my thinking. Anyway, Putin, don't worry, be happy. Obama, you might die. And China asshole, which is a new favorite in our house, though I must remind the 4 children that are under the age of 5 not to say it in public.
Wait a minute. Putin, don't worry, be happy. Obama, you might die. And what was the third one?
China asshole.
Oh, asshole. And I'm going to add one for the kids?
Yeah, okay. Anyway, she says, keep up the excellent deconstruction. There's no exit strategy. Much love and light.
Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry. Be happy.
You might die.
China is asshole.
The SJW say wah, wah, wah. Wah, wah, wah. Wah, wah, wah. The SJW say wah, wah, wah. All the way back to their mom's basement.
All right, kids, sing that for your mom.
You've got karma.
That's cute.
Could not resist.
Sir Alex, the Knight of the Northern Launchpad, came in with $202.02. And he says, ITM, John and Adam. Sir Alex here, Knight of the Northern Launchpad is here chipping in. Sad puppies in the newsletter work. Palindromes, nah. You know what's interesting about this last newsletter, if people can find it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure why it's happened, but even one of our, I have these certain people that check in with telling me where the mail went.
Yeah.
They do a good job of finding it.
Yeah.
And Mike in particular, I was going to tell him to stop sending his notes in. I've done this to a couple of people because there's no variation. But Mike had Nikolaichuk. He always says, all right, primary. No, this time it went into spam. And I did get not one note from anyone saying that it went into their primary box. This newsletter went into spam.
Even
or
this
promotion.
this one, because you had 5 animal pictures in it.
That could be. I was overdoing it.
And you had a typo on the one thing you didn't send to me to check, which always makes me sad.
I had a typo in a caption.
Yeah, under the sad puppy. Under the sad puppy, you misspelled what?
Oh no!
Yes. Oh, here's how it goes. Keeper and I are out. Well, here's the newsletter. Okay, do you see what I see? But he never sends me the captions. I can't check those.
The captions are last minute, at the very last minute.
It was, what did you expect? WAHT. What did you expect? I think you were going for Colonel Klink, actually. Okay, good. No, it's good. Sad puppy, sad cat, panda. I mean, could it get any better?
I got a guy that said that he only donated because of the sad panda.
No, pandas are important.
Anyway, so... okay, where are we on this note? Outstanding job, Northern, blah, blah. Wish to keep it. Where does it say?
He said it's right at the top. Sad puppies, newsletter. Yeah, palindromes. Nah. Okay, next line. According to the books, with this donation, I'm entering
the realm of double knights, where I wish to keep my title as is. A lot of people don't like the baronet title.
Yeah, I don't know why. Well, they don't like it.
Same reflection as Warren did. Even after coming to the U.S. in 2011, it took me 4 years to run into a true example of free speech exercise. That was in the year 2015 when I started listening to the No Agenda show. Now, there you go.
Right.
I don't know where it came from. Did he come from Northern Europe? I don't know where it came from. But there's no free speech in this country except the No Agenda show. And why is that, Adam? Why can we say what we want?
Because we don't take money from advertisers or corporate interests that will, if they don't tell us to shut up, will have us self-censoring. And we don't have to do that at all. We can go anywhere we want because of this value for value model. Makes it exactly right.
Yes, because we don't have to worry about self-censoring, which you have to do, and everybody does it. And if you're working for the newspapers or anywhere else, you self-censor. And if you don't self-censor, you get in trouble.
Do you see what happened to Brian Brushwood? Schwood?
No, what happened to Schwood?
Oh, Schwood tweeted He tweeted a screenshot of his YouTube channel. Now, Schwood has a lot of viewers and followers and subscribers.
Yeah, he's a magician. He's famous.
Yeah, and so listen to this. I should probably read it verbatim, but I'll give you the synopsis. In a review of our verified status, we regret to inform you that you no longer meet the criteria for verified status. Not like we don't like you, we don't want ads running on your no, we don't want to kick you off. No, you're just not real. We're not verifying. You're not verified.
Oh, that's right. I saw this. This came from YouTube.
Yes, from YouTube. Yes.
I didn't know that this existed.
Verified on YouTube exists. Sure. Huh. But I don't understand. Look, I'm Adam Curry. That's verifiably true. If Twitter or anybody, which I hope they don't because I have to leave the platform, if they verify me, then I'm verified. You can't unverify something you verified. It just doesn't make sense.
No, it makes zero sense.
Here, I'll read it to you.
That means you were wrong the first time.
Here. So, hi there. They don't even use a first name. Hi there, comma. We're writing to let you know that we're updating the eligibility criteria for channel verification. Unfortunately, with these changes, your channel no longer meets the criteria to be verified. We realize this might be disappointing, but we believe these updates will make channel verification more consistent for users and creators across YouTube. I don't even know what this means.
Yeah, what does it mean to him?
I don't know. He's sad.
They can't run ads on
sad puppy. Sad puppy is what it means. I don't know.
Sad puppy is what it means.
I don't know what it means. It's odd. Get off of the whole platform, Schwood.
He's not going to do that.
BitChute. Go to BitChute. All the cool kids are on BitChute.
All right, back to Sir Alex.
All right.
Who seems to be, okay, he doesn't, not Europe and Russia. He says, nothing else even comes close to the No Agenda show. Mind you, I came through the 90s in Russia. Nowhere else in the world would such a show continue for 12 seasons on a major distribution platform anyone can access. Outstanding job, gentlemen. Congratulations, Murica. Being knighted on the show 900 among a dozen of fellow sirs, we were all unfortunate to miss an invitation to the round table festivities as the pronunciator, that's you, Adam,
yes,
ran out of breath. As such, I would like to request an opportunity to partake in the next ceremonial occasion. Please, jobs, karma, cheers, Sir Alex.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
So that means he wants to be at the round table again? Is that what that means?
Well, he thought he got gypped.
No, it's okay, but then I have to put him on because Eric didn't put him on. Back office didn't do that. So we just
be up to you.
Yeah, well, let's put him on. We'll just so he's saying that he never got a proper knighting?
That's what he says.
I take his word for it.
I take his word for it.
You're in. Got it.
Lucia Mario Asberto in Savosa, Czechoslovakia?
Switzerland? Yeah.
No, she's in Switzerland. She says salutations from the Italian-speaking part of Switzerland, which is southern Switzerland. It's a very different place from Italy. Country whose total mess I escaped in 2013. Well, Switzerland's your best bet. Great essay from John about the Twitter interest scam. I noticed that if you keep rejecting the most popular tweets first, putting the newest first order, after many, many iterations, and the setting seems to stick. Yeah, some of the settings don't stick when you erase them. For the it's a crapshoot. For the donation, I am using a multi-currency free Revolut credit card that also gives me interbank currency exchange rates. Huh? Boy, she should have moved to Switzerland a while ago.
Oh, wait, aren't the overnight exchange rates 10% now? It may not be advantageous these days.
I don't know. With no commissions and no spreads. With no commissions, no spreads. But PayPal insists that I exchange Swiss francs for U.S. dollars for this donation with a 2% plus commission.
Bastards.
Vig. I need to keep changing the currency to U.S. dollars, but each time I input new data, PayPal returns to their outrageous exchange proposal. Since I also have free money... This is a banking lesson.
Yeah.
Since they also have free money transfers, something Hoy it says here about adding the show's bank coordinates, IBAN and SWIFT codes so that you can get the full amount with no commissions, no jingles. Okay, with no commissions. Anyway, we see if you can find a way to use Pop Money.
Zelle.
One good way.
Zelle. Do you have Zelle?
I don't know.
John, the obvious answer to this, I hate to say, but is, you know what it is. It's Bitcoin, but we'll never take it. I mean, I know you're against it.
We should have started taking it when we should have started taking it, which was at the beginning. We'd be rich. We wouldn't even be doing the show.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Why would we do that? You just put us out of a job. We'd be so rich from the Bitcoin. It's better to do it in dollars.
The best part, when the government's internal divisions go around the open source approaches to buy costs. Anyway, she goes on and on about this. I can't take it anymore. She really goes on and on about this.
Well, this is why people are moving to crypto, for this very reason. It's outrageous, all the fees they take. And you want to do a money bank transfer, an IBAN, interbank, it's going to cost you $25.
Anyway, no jingles, generic karma, not expected, but appreciated. And so we'll give her some karma. I love the end of the show, Ant Song and JCD playing the recorder songs. Thanks for the best podcast in the universe, obviously, according to the Mueller report.
Yes, and I'm going to give her some karma.
You've got karma.
Actually, I skipped down to Dick Banks. I was reading part of his note, which is complaining about the same thing, coincidentally fit right in. So Dick Banks does come in from D.C., Dirty Dick Bangs of D.C., $200. We're almost at the end. I hate seeing the Beagle. Especially when someone, the MSM, keeps hitting new lows. Shout out to the boys, Team ABC, Archer Campbell Bangs, age 2. We recently learned Archer cracks up at those drone clips.
Really?
At the drone clip, whatever the drone clip is. He'd love that played. Drone again? Is that it?
I think so.
Or what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we got that.
Barrett Alexander Bangs goat scream usually gets him. And the caboose of Team ABC, Colton Reed Bangs, age 5 months. He's just getting along for the ride. Thanks for everything, Baron Dirty Dick Bangs of DC. Do not read the rest.
Okay, so we need a goat. Well, I'll incorporate everything.
The drone again, naturally.
He's got some other stuff about China and some other things. I'll look
karma.
at it later.
Indeed.
Our last donation is from Ben Smith in Greenville, Texas. 200. And all he says is sad puppies is greater than palindromes. ITM Ben Smith, KF5 SWC.
That's right. We'll meet
73s.
you on 33 Charlie or on the All Starlink network soon. Kilo 5 Alpha Charlie Charlie. Thank you all of our executive producers and associate executive producers for supporting the show today. Of course, we know that you saw the puppy. It's like a bat signal. You know what happened. We had a low donation. So thank you very much for stepping in. It's always beautiful to see the true peerage of No Agenda coming to the task, and people who have been around for a while and just stepped it up. And we'll be thanking more of those people, $50 and above in our second segment. These people, execs and associate execs, these are credits you can use anywhere. Some of you had multiple. Maybe you should rotate them out from time to time, or just say executive producer or associate executive producer and list all of the shows that you produced on. It means stuff. It means something to No Agenda Nation. It means stuff to your professional community, and it means a lot to us. Thank you so much. And you can always go to
Dvorak.org/NA.
That's right. And you've learned so much about puppies and pandas. You need to propagate it now.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
What? What is this thing? What?
Shut up, slave.
I got my JCD ISOs.
That's a good one.
Yeah. While we're on it, you got something for end of show?
I do have one ISO.
Uh-huh.
Let me grab my list of stuff. Where'd it go? Here it is. This is, let's see, ISO.
You have this one.
It's enormously grave.
We have the enormously grave.
That's all I got. It's enormously grave.
And then, I kind of like this one because I can play it and then retire it.
I'm surprised anybody even likes me.
If I just play it at the end of the show, then I'll never play it again. I'm sure it irritates you. So that's the one I kind of like. Hey,
okay.
I need to, once again, Tucker Carlson going down the tubes.
Well, let's back up before you. I mean, you have to tell us more background than just that. Part of the problem is he's losing his advertisers and losing his mind.
He is losing his mind, and I caught a piece on Thursday or Friday show, and I had just seen the full actual session on the Hill, and so when he brought this report, I'm like, man, you did not see it. You have no idea what was going on. And as much as I don't like doing it, I have to kind of come to Reverend Al's defense in this one. Here is the clip.
Al Sharpton is a lot of things. You'd have to say, though, he's the hardest working man in politics. If there's a shameless hustle, he has done it. He's been an FBI informant. He's been a corporate shakedown artist. He's been a fairly prolific tax cheat. And all the while, he's been, of course, a very famous racial demagogue. But he's not attacked for any of this because somehow, and probably, Sharpton has also become a moral hero to the left. President Obama did that, inviting him to the White House more than 50 times as a domestic policy advisor. Effect, Democratic presidential candidates now line up to praise Al Sharpton. He gets to deliver sermons on MSNBC. But thankfully, he's not entirely invulnerable. Sharpton testified before the Congress yesterday. 40 Congressman Matt Gaetz decided to ask Sharpton about all the things the left prefers to forget about. Here's part of it.
Have you ever referred to African Americans who disagree with you as yellow and then the N-word?
I don't know that I've referred to people as names. I don't know if it's because they disagree with me.
Have you ever referred to African Americans who disagree with you as Negro militants?
I didn't know that was a derogatory statement.
I didn't know that was a derogatory statement. One of the great responses ever. You got to give Sharpton credit. He is hilarious.
So it was so disingenuous, and this was a 20-minute sequence of Sharpton being grilled by Representative Gaetz, a Republican. But what actually went on, in my opinion, even though Reverend Al can't get 3 words out of his mouth straight. I mean, what did we just have? We had the koala today. Every day you can pull something out that he says is odd. I'll play that again for you. This was about President Obama with a koala.
Here's the president meeting with a cola cue.
A cola cue. So he's clearly odd. But in this case, he was actually, in my opinion, butt-slamming Gaetz, talking over him, making jokes, and he was getting most of it right. There was no cola cues in this one. So you just heard that piece. Let's listen to some of the actual footage.
I didn't know that was a derogatory statement.
I didn't say it was. Just ask if you used it.
I don't know. I don't recall.
Have you ever said, if the Jews want to get it on, tell them to pin their yarmulkes back and come over to my house?
No, there was a man named Mordecai Levy who had been charged with some terrorist acts who threatened to march on me and several other activists in New Jersey. And he said he was going to come deal with my hairstyle. And I'm referring to his hairstyle. I said for him to pin it and come on. I was not talking about all Jews.
Well, you said those words.
No, I said about Mordecai Levy.
Have you said, I'm in hell already, I'm in Israel?
Yeah, because I had been threatened that if I came over to deal with
first of all,
I believe that you can deal with the decorum of the Congress, but you cannot disrespect a witness. You cannot ask a question and tell the witness he can't answer the question.
Is permitted to answer a question.
You're welcome to answer him. How about
then let me answer, sir.
Okay.
Let me answer because I'm enjoying this. I think that you have.
You're at a committee about policing.
Don't get upset. Calm down. Calm down. You're yelling. Calm down. I think that I'm trying to answer your last question.
Gentlemen will be permitted. The time of the gentleman has expired. The witness may answer the question.
I like that. Calm down, man. Calm down. You got to calm down.
Were you misquoted in this story when you say the Jews and them, referring to a plural group of people rather than one person you seem to have a grievance with?
Well, Am I allowed to answer? My name is Sharpton, not Lewandowski. I will answer the question if I'm allowed.
Please. We know your name, sir. Go ahead and answer.
And you then know that I'm going to answer. I was referring to an incident and a threat to come to my home by Mordecai Levy and to the homes of, I believe, Reverend Daughtry and others. How the Examiner, I think you said, or someone else wrote, I'm not looking at it, so I do not know whether they misquoted me or not. I do know what I said and who I was referring to.
Well, did you say them?
I just said that I'm not looking at the statement. I do not. You're talking about a situation that happened in 1991. If I said them, the, or those, I don't know. I know that incident and I know what I was referring to. And a man threatening to come to our home who had that kind of criminal record. And I had 2 young children, I think under 5 years old.
Thank you. I appreciate the answer.
Again, I'm not Lewandowski. Let me talk. I'll talk. I'll talk. I'll testify before this committee.
So is it your belief that
if I said them or not, would that help or hurt excessive force of policing?
Well, I think it's pretty significant when someone wants to come and preach to us.
Mr. Chairman, point of parliamentary inquiry. Mr. Chairman,
parliamentary inquiry.
So, I mean, Sharpton's a dick. But it wasn't the way Fox News and Tucker Carlson portrayed that. I mean, it was a throwaway, let's laugh at the crazy black guy. And I thought it was wrong. It was just dumb. And Sharpton held the upper hand throughout that entire questioning session. Sadly, he was good. He didn't have any real flubs or anything. That's why I watched these things in their entirety. I was like, well, he's kind of kicking Gates' ass. And of course, and you can't do this in any other testimony. You can't put a Republican-friendly witness there and have them talk over the questions. That would not last for 2 seconds. So, of course, that went on as planned. I think it was Nadler, actually, who was running the show.
Yeah, Nadler.
But that's like, go away. That's, I don't know.
Yeah, I think your point's well made.
Yeah, well, that was the point. That was the point I wanted to make, is that they're all shit. And Fox News loves to call everyone else mainstream while they have the #1 ratings in cable news. So they are the mainstream. And they're run by Democrats. We know it. Right?
Right. I think we should talk a little bit about Brexit because I have a whole slew of clips.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let's go into dark mode.
Dark mode. We have what's going on. It seems to me. Well, let's start with this Brexit report from This is the Midlands. The Sky News sent a report out to the Midlands, and they've just started a man on the street kind of approach, and they got very interesting results. This Brexit party can do quite well if they're going to do a snap election. So let's play that.
Vote for an election. The people decide.
We will not vote to support the dissolution of this House and a general election.
I think they're like spoiled children. There's a lot of them.
From the high-level politics of the House of Commons to the chatter in the social clubs of Grimsby, no election has been officially triggered, but people here know it could soon be ballot papers, not bingo cards, that they are making their mark on. Rita and Paula, both Grimsby, both Labour, until recently.
And if there was a general election tomorrow, who would you vote for?
I would vote to leave, but I'm a bit decided whether it be. I think it would be Brexit, actually.
So if there was a general election tomorrow, would you vote, and who would you vote for?
I vote to get out.
And in those answers, there is a crucial shift. These women aren't backing a person. They aren't backing a party. They're backing Brexit.
I know you're saying, am I worried this time? I'm genuinely never take it for granted. 2015 was very difficult. UKIP were standing and people were saying it was going to be...
The town's Labour MP, Melanie On, is confident that she has faced down similar threats before. But as her local campaign ramps up in preparation for a possible election, her party's position on Brexit, or lack of it, is dominating on the doorstep.
Hello, is it Simon?
It is.
Hello, I'm Melanie On. I'm your Member of Parliament.
Hi.
Hello, this is Channel 4.
Can I put you on the hello?
You can.
Can I put you on the spot and ask you, what do you make of Labour's position on Brexit nationally?
Well, it's mixed. I don't think there's a clear directive. And I think that's what's missing. This is what I say. Somebody, whoever it is, just needs to make a decision.
Yeah, I think people are so tired over there. They're just like, I don't care. Just make a decision, whatever. They're browbeaten. They've been hammered to the ground. They're rudderless.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that. So I think there's also been a change on the other side of the channel. Because I heard this. There's one of the members of parliament from Germany named Gunnar Beck, who gave a long spiel in German about how, with detailed numbers, how the Germans will be hurt by
Brexit.
By Brexit in terms financially, and they had all kinds of facts, figures, and then he started talking in English, and he's got this screwy, posh accent that is, I don't know who taught him English, but it's very funny to listen to him, and it's not like your Dutch guy. It's different. It's very strange, and you would never think he was a German, as a matter of fact. But and he goes on and on with some other things where he condemns the EU the way that they've handled this, and so you get to listen to this entertaining guy, and he gets the kind of responses that Farage might get.
The UK has negotiated in good faith, perhaps rather too much faith, when it agreed to all the EU's initial demands.
Oh, this is one of those. Imagine a Nazi lieutenant with a vasectomy face. That's what I'm hearing when I'm hearing him talk like this. Does he look like?
Bit? What's the name of that actor that was in the Tarantino movie, the German one? Very famous guy. He reminds me of that guy. Always plays an evil.
Yes, in the
always plays an evil kind of a character, kind of a mean German. Anyway, just play it on. You won't get that out of your head.
The UK has negotiated in good faith, perhaps rather too much faith, when it agreed to all the EU's initial demands over the negotiation timetable, EU citizens' rights, and the divorce bill. The EU responded by concocting the issue of the Irish backstop. But who seriously believes that sporadic or electronic customs checks would lead to the resurgence of violent terror in Ireland? Not even Michel Barnier, who's trying to use the backstop to keep Britain in a permanent customs union, or to force a referendum against the entire financial and political establishment and against all received politically correct opinion. The British people voted to leave the EU by a majority of 52 to 48%. Exactly the majority by which the European Parliament confirmed EU Commission President von der Leyen. 17.4 million British citizens voted for Brexit, the largest number of British people who ever voted for anything. Now, Michel Barnier is a shrewd and skillful negotiator, but he's trying to reduce the UK to a vassal state, or alternatively is risking massive job losses in the EU. Either outcome is unacceptable.
Wow. Okay. So this to me was very entertaining. You're right. Christoph Waltz was the actor. He played in Inglourious Bastards, Tarantino's movie. If I was British and I heard this guy speak, I'd be like, we really need Brexit. We cannot be a part of this. We can't listen to that guy. He triggers every World War II memory they have.
I'm sure he does, but
they have
he thinks
ways
the EU
of making you talk.
He thinks the EU is screwing up the deal, and he blames Barnier, who is, and I think this is, again, the Germans exerting their will over the French.
Of course. That's what they do.
And it's resulted in this peculiar clip, which is, if you can understand it, but this is Juncker, who's kind of changed his tune about everything.
I had a meeting with Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister. This was a rather positive meeting, although the British press was reporting it in the other way. We can have a deal.
Do you think we can get a deal?
I think.
You think that the chances are more than 50-50?
I don't know. But I'm doing everything to have a deal, because I don't like the idea of no deal, because this would have catastrophic consequences. It's better and for Britain and for the European Union.
Now, Juncker doesn't even have a say anymore. He's no longer the boss.
No, he has no say. He's not the boss. But he was the guy who used to say, no.
Yeah.
The deal's the deal. Period. We're not talking anymore. And now he's sounding like a guy who wants to kick. I think the Germans started doing, their German economists started doing the math on this. And they didn't like what they saw.
Yeah.
And I think that they're going to do anything to keep the British from, like, not really completely disconnecting, but giving pretty much what Boris Johnson wants to do, some sort of a deal. And this De Gunnar guy, the guy who sounds like the actor, he mentions this thing about the backstop being a fake issue. And I think they're all right.
I agree. And I think backstop is a fake issue, too. Sure.
Something's going to break pretty soon. And I don't know how it's going to go, but it sounds like everything we've been told is wrong. And of course, we do have one funny little thing, which is this nothing to do with this particular trend. But I did catch on one of the BBC radio networks, John Humphreys, who's one of this masterful interviewer with this huge, beautiful voice that either one of us would be happy to have. He got Cameron on, and he just ripped Cameron. And then the only thing funny about this clip is the way Cameron refuses to address the issue and goes on and on about it with compliments to the interviewer. I mean, this is like a trick that the interview, as it continues, Humphreys doesn't put up with it, but Cameron doesn't have any real excuse for what Humphreys presents to him.
It's 3.5 years since this country voted to leave the European Union. In 42 days, we finally leave. Maybe. We can't even be sure of that. The fact is, we are still in an almighty mess. And the man responsible, the man whose autobiography, For the Record, is being published today, is sitting opposite me. It was David Cameron who called the referendum. And this is what he told me the day before the nation voted.
I would accept the instructions of the British people and get to work on Friday morning to deliver them.
Mr. Cameron, good morning.
Good morning.
That was a false promise, wasn't it? You misled the nation.
Well, first of all, can I just take a moment and say thank you for 32 years of striking the fear into politicians like me every morning and asking us questions that we don't always want to answer and calling us to account. It's an amazing record.
Oh, what a wimp. Brown noser. Lame.
I just thought that was funny.
I'm thinking that there must be something financial going on, that this tune has changed, especially when the Germans, who really run the finances with the ECB and the Bundesbank, I think that something's going on that we're not aware of. And I
am in total agreement. There is absolutely something going on, or we wouldn't have heard what we're hearing. There is some sort of panic, and I'm not sure what it is, but somebody...
I'm still thinking it's the negative interest rates. I mean, everyone poo-poos it when I say it, but there's something wrong here.
Well, there's something wrong. That's for
there's
sure.
A lot wrong. There's a lot wrong.
Rates.
Yeah. Which I think they just lowered the negative interest rates even more. The Jyske Bank, which is, what is that, Iceland? Or Norway. I don't remember which one. Yeah, it's bad. Well, we're coming down to the wire.
it's getting there, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I just want to, so everyone who listens to this show, we're one of the few podcasts that actually tracks this important event. And I think something's changing, and it's going to be us that figures it out.
Well, somehow
you're on alert.
Well, yeah, and I think that this overnight interbank lending rate has something to do with it. This is, that the Fed is injecting all this cash. The repo. I mean, there's a whole bunch of words. I've got the former New York banker keeps sending me articles about it. We're expecting Goldman Sachs to be the victim of it. I don't know. It's just it doesn't seem healthy. What's happening? But what do we know? We're just a bunch of podcasters.
We're the best
in the universe. Some unhoused news as Austin, Texas. Since I'm here, and we are kind of at ground zero of the homeless problem, which is taking place not just in the United States, it's happening everywhere now. And of course, it's been in places like South America and India. There's all kinds of problems with homeless, but you wouldn't expect it from the shining, the beating heart of Texas, Austin. So there was a council meeting. I keep you up to speed on this, John. Another city council meeting, and they were all going to sit down and discuss restricting camping in certain areas of downtown and the West Campus of the University of Texas. And they could not come to agreement. In fact, Mayor Adler, Kitchen, I think her name is, and the pro tempura mayor, Garza, I just love saying that. They were all for changing these restrictions, which would mean, of course, that, people might leave those areas of downtown. Where did they go? Well, you can imagine what happened is they did not vote on it, did not come to a decision, have delayed until the October 17th meeting. There are a couple things I need to say about this. First, here's a statement from Austin City Council member Jimmy Flanagan, who we haven't heard from. I have not followed him at all. He's District 6. And this guy's interesting. He's young. I'd say he's squarely millennial, but in his early 30s. He likes to do the jazz hands when people clap. No, don't do that. Do this. Otherwise, he'll be here all day. And he's not even saying it for people getting triggered by cheering and clapping. He just doesn't want them to interrupt him. Which, okay, that's interesting. And he also talks like Ben Shapiro, which I think is a huge appeal to a certain subset here in Austin, Texas. And he does say some things which are not entirely stupid. I'm blown away.
I'm sure you're familiar with the phrase lipstick on a pig. I am incredibly frustrated by this process. Nobody wants to see the camping. I don't want to see the camping. My constituents don't want to see the camping. We got to stay focused. Stick to this, y'all. It'll get us through the day faster. Nobody wants to see it. I don't want to see it. I know you all don't want to see it.
This is his tempo. This is not sped up. This is his.
Come on, you sped this up.
No, I did not. I took it straight from video. I did not speed this up. This is how the guy talks. People who listen to this podcast on 2 times speed will be tripping out.
But we have to stay focused on how we're going to solve it. I don't believe that we are going to solve this as a council, 11 of us inventing policy from the dais. We hired experts to do this for us. Our new homeless strategy officer has been on the job for a week. We need to use the resources that we are creating. We didn't bring a homeless strategy officer from Austin. We brought her from a community where it was working, where the solutions were being implemented, where progress was being made. A resolution posted to the message board 45 minutes ago is insufficient for me, insufficient for the public, I think. This is not going to be a problem that's solved overnight, and it is not going to be a problem we solve from the dais. I am committed, as we are all committed, to getting this problem managed and not talking about ending homelessness, which is a phrase with a very difficult assessment.
And even the troll room is saying this is not sped up. This is straight from video from Austin City Council. I don't think they're in the business of speeding up, and it's just not.
But talking about, stick to it, y'all, really. But saying what our specific metrics are. Mayor, I'm glad that you brought up the federal definition. A situation where the wait list for housing is 60 days or less. That makes sense to me. The other thing that's important for us to remember as we go through this process, the camping bans are what broke the West Coast. They banned camping in certain parts of town, which moved it to other parts of town, which then moved it to other parts of town, then moved to other parts of town. And by the time it got so big, there was literally nowhere left for anybody to be. You couldn't possibly spend enough money to solve it. We are not there yet. We are years away from there. But as Councilmember Ria noticed or mentioned, these solutions have been offered to this community in years past and have been rejected. And if you want to see some crazy council meetings, go watch the video of San Francisco or LA council meetings where they talk about homelessness. Those communities are angry because they should have solved it 5-10 years ago. That's what we are going to do. That's what I know we can do, is we can develop the metric. The end game metric is the 60 days. We can create a middle point metric. I like the idea of a midpoint metric, as we can start to clarify where people can be as we identify where they can be. We are identifying where they can't be. That's what we have to do. That's what I'm committed to do. Exempting certain parts of town and not other parts of town, street by street, is not something I'm satisfied with. I cannot justify to my constituents how streets in one district are exempted, but streets in my district aren't. So I don't think that we're going to get there. We have allocated the resources. We have made historic investments. We need to rely upon the experts to help us solve this problem.
I know it sounds weird, but I did not speed the guy.
Hold on a second.
I did not speed him up.
This is what happens to anybody who listens to
Ben
stuff that's sped up.
Yeah, exactly. This is what it results in. You listen to podcasts at 1.5 or 2 times speed. This is what happens to you.
Yeah.
Dang.
He sounds like a sped up audio track.
Well,
and the thing is, even with sped up audio tracks, you have this. He's very understandable.
Yeah, I know. So is Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, Shapiro's very understandable. Just like, why are you talking so fast, dude?
Now, what the guy said is very interesting. They have indeed hired a homeless strategy officer, a woman from Orlando. And I know about this because I finally had my sit-down talk with Alan Graham, the CEO of Mobile Loaves and Fishes Community First Village, which I've been talking about, which I went to see. It's about an hour and 15 minutes. I tweeted out the link. You can find it. It's a no agenda additional thing that I like to do from time to time. There's really no benefit to playing any of the clips because you have to listen to it as a whole. But you listen to his philosophy and what will really work. And the main takeaway that I got from him, which plays into this, is one. He says, if I had a nickel for every person that came up to me and said, you know, what you're doing here is really great, and I'm liberal, I really like this, but you have to do it somewhere else. He says the not in my backyard or NIMBY in Austin is outrageous. And particularly from, he says, liberal people who have compassion, they love the idea, love it, but just don't want it near them. And so when you want to ban camping in certain areas of downtown, all the other districts go, well, why here? Well, I don't want it over here. When the real issue is that you cannot fix broken people. They're broken. They need to be reintroduced into a community. And the actual numbers, according to Alan Graham, but also he's in the data. He does have access to the homelessness database and all this information that the city maintains. There's really 1,200 chronically homeless people. Maybe as much as 2,000 who've been on the streets unhoused for a year or more. He says all the rest are transient, and in fact, to me, it makes sense that. And I joke about it, but you should really chip these people or have some way to consistently identify. They do have databases that work pretty well. If you have not registered. Yeah, I don't give a shit. I mean, I want to help people.
Yeah, we heard that. We heard you.
Yeah, but
Mr. OTG.
Hey, these people are not OTG. Most of them got smartphones. So don't start with me. The transients need to get the hell out. Go away. I don't care what you're doing here. Do you want to be an Austinite? You want to live in Austin? Okay, there are ways to help you. They are already the Community First Village is already housing 230 people, and starting in January they'll onboard 10 more people a week, and they will have an additional 500, bringing up to about 750 people running this currently on $6 million a year. I mean, they spend 3 times as much as that just on their stupid meetings. So it's very frustrating to see things that are working. People that are way out, they have their own community. They can still access Austin and everything it has to offer. It's working perfectly, but everybody else here is talking about, we need to build housing, but not around here. Put it over there. They're a bunch of dickwads and assholes. There is stuff that's actually working, and the city of Austin has no desire to even look into it. So sadly, unless a lot of people start getting into it, and I'll be one of them, I'm going to campaign as much as I can and do as much as possible. What the mayor is doing and the leaders, the elected representatives, the city council is not going to work. This will turn into San Francisco, Los Angeles, etc. Smaller scale because we just don't have that many people, but it will be bad. And we've seen really the increase of visibility of homeless is just it's doubled. And there are solutions, but these people have no desire to look at anything that works. And it's kind of a not invented here syndrome. I'm not quite sure what's wrong with them. And the people of Austin yell and shout and scream at these town halls. They're not doing anything either. A bunch of phony hypocrites. That's all I had to say. Go listen to the interview I did with Alan Gray.
Yeah, you should play the pet peeve jingle for you.
Well, this will be my new pet peeve.
Adam C. Curry's pet peeve of the day.
Yes, it's the Bay. Wars on the Bay. Being e-cigarette.
Pew, pew, pew.
Update on the vape wars. I have some new information. New shit has come to light, man. I got a very interesting note from, he will have to remain anonymous, and I verified insider in the vaping industry regarding the deaths that have taken place. And I learned something interesting. There is an additional type of e-liquid, e-juice, that is based on nicotine salts. I was unaware of this. And I had to really delve in to understand what was going on. But this is, in fact, what Juul uses. Nicotine salt is a product that you can flavor easily. It will vaporize. It vaporizes at a much lower wattage, and it injects it infuses a much higher level of nicotine into the bloodstream, way higher than the stuff that I've been vaping for years. And this is what Juul found out. This is their secret sauce. The problem is, the benefit to the nicotine salts is they can put it in this little capsule and use this low-powered battery that is the Juul. I mean, the Juul is not a very powerful device compared to, what I'm using, what other people who vape use, which is, you got a pretty decent stick, and that's a big battery. The danger comes in when kids get hooked on Juul. They're smoking these nicotine, or they're inhaling the nicotine salts. They run out of money because Juul is expensive, and they can't really go back to the non-nicotine salt vape. So then they start putting that nicotine salt into their high-powered sub-ohm vapes, and you do not want to vaporize nicotine salts at very high temperature. Apparently, that may be something that is really bad to your health. Of course, we're not going to talk about this because that Juul needs to get all their ducks in a row and get cleared by FDA before this news comes out. So take that for what it's worth. It's different from what Justin the drug dealer said, but I think it's believable.
I like it.
Yeah, something with the nicotine.
I think it's the most interesting thing so far.
And then just right on time, as we predicted would happen with all of this, you remember our big tobacco advertiser insider said all of this vaping is just until they get the non-combustible heated tobacco devices approved. Do you remember this from a show or two ago?
It may have been the last show.
It may be last show. Well, there it is. FDA clears Philip Morris's IQOS, I-Q-O-S. I don't know, it's Koala Q, IQOS. As Altria prepares to sell the heated tobacco device in the U.S. And that apparently is really Philip Morris's end game. They do not want to give up the tobacco business. They don't want to just go to nicotine. They don't really own that business. They want the tobacco business to roll. And so now they have this heated tobacco, which doesn't actually burn it.
Well, okay. So what you're saying, this is, of course, I'm not a smoker, so I can't keep up with any of it.
Sure.
But I will say this, from a chemical standpoint, or a chemistry standpoint, the tobacco must then therefore be treated with something to make it vapable, because otherwise, why would you just take regular, just a bunch of chewing tobacco and stick it in a vapor and a vaporizer, and then charge it up and breathe the vape?
I don't know anything about this technology, but this news literally came out today that the FDA has cleared this. But check.
Well, I'd love to hear from somebody about the chemistry, because there's got to be something, and we've known kind of or suspected that much of the problems with tobacco are the chemicals that they add to the tobacco itself, so it burns longer, it has a nicer ash. There's all these things, and those things are not healthy.
Well, this is exactly the point of the nicotine salts. Is the big tobacco found out that once you start adding ammonia and stuff like that to the tobacco, the nicotine that is actually taken into the bloodstream is a much higher level because of these additives they put in there. So they're always it's still all a nicotine delivery device. That's what everybody's looking for. And I can understand why the tobacco guys want to keep their tobacco business going. But here's what I found odd is the branding. Altria will start selling, and listen, it's little I, capital QOS. How am I supposed to? First of all, how am I pronouncing this? IQOS, IQOS, IQOS. What? I don't understand how to pronounce it. That's the heated device. And they're going to sell mobile versions, that kind of fit in your pocket. Marlboro branded heat sticks. They're literally going to call them heat sticks.
Oh, this is
the death knell. You don't call your cigarette replacement a heat stick. I don't know what they're thinking.
Well, they do research, they got the money to do it.
They got tons of dough. Yeah, I'd like to know about the non-combustible tobacco. They just heat it up. I like the vaping. That's fine. The vaping was good for me. We had to do that. What is this nicotine salt stuff? No one needed to do this. Yeah. So that's your vape war update. I don't know if we're any wiser after it, but at least we know that
you created more questions than you answered.
I'm sorry. I really tried to do my best. But I guess the bottom line is what we're hearing from the THC side may not be the ultimate culprit of 5 deaths, which of course is 2 less than people dying from eating Tide Pods. But hey, it's the conversation. So we like to stay on top
and something like 400,000 less than people smoking cigarettes.
What's in a number?
So let's
you know what? No. Let's do nothing. We got to take a break.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
Well, we do have a few people to thank for show 1175, which is the getting up to show 1200, which is going to be a big deal. Starting with Marcus Mueller, $117.50. He's in Deutschland. Dame Nurse Caitlin.
Oh, nice. Nurse Caitlin. I haven't heard from her in a while, I think.
Yeah, she showed up a few months back. In Goldsboro, North Carolina, she has a $111.33. She does have a note with a call out. Dame Nurse Caitlin, the Flat Earth. Finally checking in after a bit of a hiatus. My listening slacked off over the last year or so after losing my mom to cancer, losing my grandfather, and Dad's house burning down. I've been back in my routine for a few weeks and loved the show as much as ever. In fact, my brother, who's also a listener, and I were planning to attend the Eastern North Carolina meetup in Garner today, but some things prevented us from going there. She wishes them well.
But she needs to call out.
Since we missed the meetup, it seems like a donation was needed. She wants a F cancer, but she also needs to call her brother Trey Williams out as a douchebag. And we'll give you an F cancer at the end of this list.
You bet.
Nils Bonnecker in Hamburg, Deutschland, $111.11. Justin Johnson, $100. Kevin Thomas, 100. Charles Bennett, 100, in McCall, Idaho. Sir Pat Deary in Sarnia, Ontario, Canada, 100. Sophia Pandalea, San Jose. She was complaining, I believe, about not having. We need a South Bay meetup, and I said to a note, yes, we do. We need one. Yeah, that's Sophia. She's in San Jose. Ian Field, 100. Matt McGregor, 99. Brian Burgess, 95, in Pelican Rapids, Minnesota. Pelicans in Minnesota, okay. William Alston in Baltimore, Maryland, 91-19. So we have a continuation with 1, 2, 3, 4 more of the 91-19 guys.
Straggling
Ryan
palindromes.
Smith in Raleigh, Stephen Hightower, and Eric Mackey in or Mackey, with 91-19. Ronald Schull, 8008. Sir
Boom.
Kevin McLaughlin, Earl of Luna at 8008, Locust, North Carolina. Sir Jonathan of the Double-Bladed Paddle in Lost Wages, Nevada.
Hey, 73 is my man Zaham.
73s. Does he have his call letters?
Yes. Kilo Echo 0, India Hotel Tango. Double-bladed paddles means he's using Ambic keys. He's a Morse code, CW.
Yeah, he's a Morse code guy. He's CW.
Mm-hmm.
Baronet Surf, and it'd be fun to get good with one of those.
I was doing about 15 words a minute for a while there with a double-bladed paddle. You got to keep it up though. You lose it real quick if you don't practice.
Yeah, you should probably have to practice daily.
Yeah.
Baronet Surf Phenom in Appleton, Wisconsin, 69-68. Chris Baylor in Grafton, Wisconsin, also in Wisconsin, 6789. Michael McIntyre in Boulder Creek.
Maxwell McIntyre.
Oh, I'm sorry, Maxwell McIntyre. What did I say?
You said Michael.
Oh. In Boulder Creek, California, 6666.
Help Greta or other deserving recipients to the round table. You thought this would be a good promotion. In this case, maybe he doesn't have anyone else to help with a damehood or knighthood, so he wants to attribute it to Greta. But we've seen this a couple of times in the recent past where even people who have peerage want to help others get their ring. And I think it's an interesting idea, and I encourage it, actually.
Bhaskar Dandona in Birmingham, Great Britain, 5555, and he has a note. Go podcasting! Mary Lutz in Gaylord, Michigan, 5555, and there's a couple of...
she has first-time donor, 5555, in recognition of my birthday. She's 55th today on the 22nd. My husband Jeff and I have been long-time boners, so we need a de-douching. We can do that. Oops, there we go.
You've been de-douched.
And the Jobs Karma coming up in a moment for you. Thank you so much. Welcome to No Agenda Nation.
Sergeant Postal, 5533 in Miami Lakes, Florida. Thomas Miller in Naperville, Illinois, 5510. Stas Gomberg, 5510. Fawaz Al-Duaj. Alf Duaj. He's in Kuwait, 55. He needs a de-douching.
Okay.
You've been de-douched.
He's got a number of commentaries there about him.
Well, about you. This is your Yemeni ISO, which means grace of Almighty God, I think, or ask for God's blessing. Yes, thank you. We got the translation. Appreciate
5150, Levelland, Texas, from Sir Jackson Knight of the Transistors. Shannon Atkins, 5050. Yeah, this got a funny note. Thank you, Shannon. Sir Duma in Holland, Ohio, 5110. Forrest Martin, 5005. And we have the following people are $50 donors, name and location. Starting with, if I get to the right spot, Erez Schatz in Israel. Beit Shemesh, Israel, as a matter of fact. Thomas Tollett in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Sir, fuck that guy. 50, I didn't know we had that night there. Comes to the rescue.
Hey, fuck that guy. He's here.
Jan Osifius in Oostvoorn.
I think it's Osephuis.
And it'd be Jan.
Yeah, Jan Osephuis in Oostvoorn. Let's try that one. Okay.
Carlos Pacina, parts unknown. Jeffrey Fields in New Braunfels, Texas. Used to use a Hondo grill from that New Braunfels company. Hamish Patterson, Christopher Baker, Robert Case in Mill Spring, North Carolina. Another birthday from Trisha Morales in San Antonio, Texas.
Smoking hot husband Aaron Lopez. He's turning 33 today. Oh.
Sir Eric, Baron of the Valley, 50. Sir Alan Bowes, Baron of BC, 50. And then Daniel LeBoy from Bath, Michigan. That's in front of Sir Patrick Maycomb in New York. And unless I'm skipping over this.
This is anonymous.
I think my spreadsheet will not read whoever it is that wrote that War and Peace note.
It's anonymous from Boynton Beach, Florida, and it is a very long note about OTG. But, we really can't be playing jingles. Certainly that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. We do that in our first segment. But thank you very much for your support. We appreciate it.
Yes.
And the last one,
I think I printed that note out. There's something in there I wanted to read. And Sir Patrick Maycomb in New York City is our last well-wisher and producer for show 1175. I want to thank him especially.
Yes, and thank you to everybody under that amount. A lot of you came in and helped with $49.99s. Anything under the 50, of course, is kept anonymous. We appreciate that. And we have our subscriptions, which is a baseline, and we really love people to continue and sign up for it if you haven't already. So these people and our executive producers and associate executive producers really made this show come alive. Thank you. And remember, we'll be doing it on Thursday. All you have to do is go to
Dvorak.org/NA.
Okay, lots of F cancers and job karmas and moving karmas.
Before you go on, I do want to read one more note. This is what came in from Matt from Sydney. He sent in 152 Australian dollarettes, which amounted to nothing. He said he also needs health cover for his wife, who's about to undergo spinal surgery, removing a disc and spurs in the neck and spinal fusion.
Okay.
And just on a related note, I'll read this. Bernie Sanders is full of it, he says. We have socialized medicine in Australia, and the operation is still costing a fortune, including a random $1,100 out-of-pocket admin fee we had to pay to the surgeon the other day. This is despite paying a mandatory $5,000 a year to be in the health fund.
Nice.
Okay.
And Hamish Patterson was brand new, needed de-douching. So here we go.
You've been de-douched.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
And we're rounding out the month of September. It is the 22nd today. Here's our list of birthdays. We say happy birthday to Sam Godwin. Nathan Miller Foster celebrating today. Mary Lutz, also a 22nd day of September birthday. Trisha Morales says happy birthday to her smoking hot husband Aaron Lopez, 33 today. Amali Lance, her husband Colin turns 33. We say happy birthday to Buzzkill Jr. He is 34. Happy birthday to Tony Dockery and Pat Alanis. All of you are happy birthday babies, and we say that from all your buddies here at the best podcast in the universe.
Come gather round, douchebag, producer and slave, as we all thank your brothers and sisters who gave, and some of them knights,
some of them slaves.
For the titles they're a-changing.
Well, we got a longer jingle than we do title changes, but Sir Robert Klassen becomes Sir Robert, Shining Baron of Lapland. And congratulations to you, sir. And then we have a couple of, let me see, we have we've got 3 knights and 1 daming to do. So I'll grab this blade if I can have your big
Here's
sword.
the big one.
Beautiful. Very nice. Up on stage here, Laura Giaggio, Lee Scarbeck, Nathan Miller Foster, and Sir Alex, who never got his proper knighting. All four of you are about to enter the illustrious group that we call the No Agenda Knights and Dames of the Round Table. Thanks to your support of the show in the amount of $1,000 or more, it is highly appreciated. So hereby I pronounce the KD, Dame Laura, Sir Prime Mover, Sir Nathan Lee, and Sir Alex, the Knights of the Northern Launchpad. For you, we've got Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys, and Chardonnay. We've got Kona Coffee and Maui Wowie, Reindeer and Cloudberries. We got Sparkling Cider and Escorts, Ginger Ale and Gerbils, Breast Milk and Pablum, and, of course, there's Mutton and Mead. So, all of you, welcome to this exclusive group of the No Agenda Knights and Dames. And to make it official, go over to noagendanation.com/rings. And Eric the Shill will make sure you get your rings as soon as possible.
No Agenda Meetup.
Quick meetup reports from the Portland Local 33 meetup. Greetings, Podfather. Here's our meetup report for Oregon Local 33. Another great one, a great time getting together with 8 fellow slaves at Noodles & Co. Not the favorite venue so far, but still a rich time of amygdala alignment. We had a rousing round of No Agenda Wheel of Fortune. Everybody went home a winner to put one more meal of mac and cheese, which was the contestant prizes. Although, he says, I thought we were in trouble right off the start, given the sign on the door. And this was a printed sign, and he sent me a picture, and it says, quote, short, this is from Noodles, okay? Noodles, Noodle Boy, remember what kind of crazy people work at Noodles? Short on staff, order maybe coming out late, maybe spelled M-A-Y-B-E, maybe. Order maybe coming out late. Sorry for the inconvenient. Signed the Noodles team. Those are the people that are bitching about that they should be a part of management. Sorry for the inconvenient. Not inconvenience, inconvenient. One of the highlights of the evening may well be the discovery of our next meetup and topic/venue, which is axe throwing. And that is scheduled for October 25th. Then we had a quick report from Nelson, British Columbia, from Matt Burns, organized the meetup there in the morning, Adam. Last night we had the first Nelson, BC meetup. A total of 6 guys showed up, which for a small city of 10,000, I consider a great success. That actually is kind of good. Conversation flowed. Everyone got along well. We were relatively trigger-free. Onerous BC liquor laws interfered with the group sitting together for a time. All resolved quickly, though. Thanks to the government of British Columbia for protecting us. Is there something I don't know about? You can't drink in a group in British Columbia?
Well, were there any minors?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Usually
could be.
Have some issues there.
4 of 6 are douchebags, so a call-out would be much appreciated.
Douchebag.
We exchanged contact details, and I'm already planning the next meetup. Thank you for your courage, Matt Burns. And because we've already gone so long today, I'll do the full list and the organizers outside of this weekend. I'll do it on Thursday's show.
Do you use the Mimi script, or are you using the list there?
I have the Mimi script. That's why it's really long. So I'm saying she's
trying to cut it down as much as she can, she says.
Yeah, because you moaned about it. So, yes, and I agree. That's why I'm going to do just this weekend, and then Thursday we'll do the rest. Sunday, that's today, Arlington, Virginia. That's at noon today. So, oops. You're late.
Oh, you already missed it.
Cafe Pizzaglio in Shirlington. Bill Patterson, your host. Maybe they're listening to it stream live. And then an impromptu meetup just added for Monday. That's at Doraville, Georgia, 5:33 local time there. Baldino's Giant Jersey Subs. Andy is organizing his 33rd birthday there and a meetup, so please join him. And I'll just throw in Thursday the 26th, even though there's a show day, Las Vegas, Nevada, at Hooters Casino. Pete Kokonis is your host. That'll be at 5 o'clock. Also on Thursday, the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg, 7 o'clock Central European Summertime. At Brasserie Seppel, and Stay Woke is your host. And again, these meetups, which soon will be on the air, meetups on the air with the No Agenda Hams, are really a lot of fun. And you can see from the pictures that people are posting and tweeting that it's doing incredible good for their overall amygdala health. And we appreciate that.
I forgot what meetup this was, but I was talking to her about it. She said the guy's complaining. He says there's only 19 people that showed up.
Holy crap, that's a great meetup.
It's a great meetup. 19 people. You're not going to get to talk to everybody. You already have too many.
My goodness, that's a great meetup.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole point is just to go meet people, make human connections. You can't just be sitting at home listening to your podcast on double speed thinking that you're going to heal yourself from all the nastiness in the world. You got to get out there. Did we do everything? Did I get them all? Am I missing something? I feel like I'm missing something. I did Knights and Dames, titles, birthday meetups. Good. Okay. A lot of administration. But
a lot of admin.
Running No Agenda Nation is no small task.
All right. Well, we're pretty much wrapping pretty soon.
I do have one last thing I just wanted to play. Though it's not something to leave on. We might want to have something fun here.
I have something kind of funny.
But I'll play this first. This is from, of course, a podcast because you can't really get anything good on the mainstream anymore. This is from the Reason podcast. They had an FBI whistleblower on. And one of the things we always talk about here is the so-called 6-week cycle. And we were told by an insider many years ago, the FBI, in order to keep their budgets going, they have to have some event that happens every 6 weeks. And it's good if it's terrorism because then that keeps them funded and keeps everybody happy. This whistleblower talked about that very thing.
And again, even among those radical Muslims, only a tiny fraction of them would ever do something violent. And, part of it is that because we've built this counterterrorism apparatus, we have to have terrorists. Mm-hmm. So there has been this impulse to manufacture terrorism where they'll find somebody who doesn't have friends or otherwise has some deficit in their ability to socialize or is angry at something. And the undercover operation is designed to turn them into a terrorist, to give them weapons. Those are the types of things that we never would have done before 2001.
And this, we read news reports about this all the time. And this also goes back to the 60s and agents provocateur. It was a joke in the 60s that if whoever was calling to bomb stuff, that was the FBI agent in the mix, right?
Right. And there was the reform after the 1976 Church Committee. So I was operating in that element where if I had suggested to the FBI headquarters that I wanted to open a terrorism undercover operation targeting somebody who wasn't part of a terrorist group, didn't have a terrorist plan, and didn't have any weapons, they would have sent me for counseling. And unfortunately, that is a common tactic now. And so we're finding these marginalized people rather than looking at organized criminal behavior that can actually be much more dangerous, because we have 17,000 homicides in this country each year, and the solve rate has gone down. Back in the 90s, there were a whole lot more homicides, but we actually solved more of them. Now we solve less of them. And I think it's because we're in this prevention mode where we're out there searching for things rather than focusing on actual crimes that are happening.
And they said we were crazy, John.
Yeah. Yep.
There it is.
That was a good clip.
I mean, it's not...
I'll give you a borderline on that, actually. It's a pretty good clip.
Thanks. He doesn't actually mention the 6 weeks, but he does everything else there. So, yes, I'll take it. Thank you.
Yeah, he was... clip of the day. It's just something people should know.
Yeah, you should know this, definitely.
So now I have actually two clips.
Oh, good. Good.
Let's start with the one is that got me kind of like, what the hell are they trying to make a story out of nothing, especially here in California. This is a local story on Ben Carson, who apparently they're trying to make it sound like some sort of a trans, because there's a big thing now about hating on the transgenders. And Carson was...
You mean the medical doctor said, man, if your gender is female, that was not acceptable, I guess, that he said that?
No, he actually didn't even say much of anything. But he did imply that he didn't think it was a good idea for big, hairy guys, is where he described them.
Oh, there's
big,
your problem.
hairy dudes to be in the women's bathroom because they felt like they're women. And so they made a big stink about it locally here. And here's a classic typical report, and they don't really have any evidence to back themselves up, but they do the report anyway.
Tonight, the nation's top housing official catching some heat for comments he made allegedly about transgender people while visiting San Francisco. According to the Washington Post, HUD Secretary Ben Carson expressed concern about, quote, big, hairy men coming into women's homeless shelters. The Post reports he also said he is unhappy that society no longer seems to know the difference between men and women. women. Carson visited HUD's San Francisco office this week. People who were there tell the paper that many were shocked. A HUD spokesperson told the Post, quote, the secretary does not use derogatory language to refer to transgendered individuals. Any reporting to the contrary is false.
Oh, he made a boo-boo.
So he says, I think it's a bad idea that big, hairy men go into the women's shelters, homeless shelters. Obviously, they're after something. And somehow people heard this comment and they were shocked. They were shocked.
Because he's calling the immediate conclusion is he's calling one of the most vulnerable classes of people in the country, the transgendered women, big, hairy dudes. That's all they could focus on.
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually worse with the focusing because I have a clip from Trump in New Mexico where he just goes off the rails with his ad libs and starts doing his bit, which is pretty lively in the New Mexico speech. And he goes off and starts yakking about one thing. And they all say, oh, he hates the Hispanics. And this is the perfect example of why. And he's really being kind of kind. In fact, if they wanted to, and I don't understand why they don't do this, if you take what you're going to hear next, which is Trump in New Mexico, and if you could pull out anything from it, if you wanted to condemn Trump, you could say that Trump hates America.
In New Mexico, President Trump falsely declared at a campaign rally Monday that Latinos support his border wall, proclaiming, quote, we love our Hispanics. During the rally in Rio Rancho, Trump pointed to Steve Cortez, a former paid on-air contributor at CNN and member of Trump's 2020 campaign committee.
He happens to be Hispanic. But I've never quite figured it out because he looks more like a wasp than I do. Nobody loves the Hispanics more. What do you like more, the country or the Hispanics? He says the country, I don't know. I may have to go for the Hispanics, to be honest with you. We got a lot of Hispanics. We love our Hispanics.
In response, the progressive political group Latino Victory tweeted, this is racist, this is xenophobic, this is the type of rhetoric that led to the biggest anti-Latino massacre in modern history, unquote.
What? Hold on. Latino massacre?
You're talking about the El Paso shooting?
Oh, and that's what led to it? Oh, people.
Can't joke around anymore.
Oh, my goodness.
But I think Trump could be condemned for hating America because he said right there that he likes Hispanics more than he likes the country.
Well, no. He did. Well, since you're going to bring it up, he did something the other day, which is another one of my pet peeves.
I've always heard the most important thing a president does. I disagree with this, by the way, but that's okay. I disagree with a lot of things. Because I think the most important thing is our military and protecting our country.
No. No, I disagree. It is to protect, defend, uphold the Constitution. That's the job. I don't like it when
at least he said our country, not the country.
He said our country, you're right, and he said a lot of people disagree, so he's aware of what he's saying. But remember, it's not our country, it's this country and our democracy. That's how you got to do it.
That's what some people would like to believe.
Some people would like
when
to
there's
believe
no
that.
democracy involved. But okay.
End of show mixes. We got a couple doozies here, which I wanted to mention. So special thanks to Sir Saturday, Jesse Coy Nelson, and Chris Wilson in a collaboration with VoteScotty.com, John World War II in Tokyo, and Circumvent the Law. And we appreciate all the work they do as well. Coming up right after this on NoAgendaStream.com is the Grumpy Old Bens. They tackled the OTG topic. That's one to catch. Again, NoAgendaStream.com. And coming to you from Opportunity Zone 33 here in downtown, in the frontier of Austin, Texas. And it's FEMA Region number 6 on the governmental maps if you're looking for it. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, which is also known as Opportunity Zone 0, I'm John C. Dvorak.
I'll be on D-Star Reflector 33 Charlie and soon on the All-Star Link Network for our No Agenda hams until Thursday. Adios, mofos, and such.
This is my mukbang song. Yeah. Eating while I'm singing. Oh. Eating while I'm singing. Oh. Eating while I'm singing. Yum. I'm doing my mukbang thing. Eating while I'm singing. I'm doing my mukbang thing. Eating while I'm singing. I'm doing my mukbang thing. Yeah, I'm eating on YouTube. I'm eating good food. It's my mukbang song. All the kids want to sing along. Watch my eating.
I see J. Trudeau and his face is painted black. The Justice Warriors, they're ready to attack. I see photos of him there, he's in a lamb's clothes. They have to turn their heads while amygdalas explode. I see a stream of tweets with Trudeau painted black. I see apology, he wants to take it back. I see people turn their heads and quickly look away. He'd get more sympathy if he came out as gay.
Justin Trudeau has become the first Canadian Prime Minister to march in a gay pride parade.
John's going to be performing.
I don't know how anyone plays this thing. This is a recorder.
Oh.
If you blow harder, it changes the note. I don't know how anyone plays this thing. Yeah, I got to get a little book on it.
They're even complimenting your recorder playing today.
Dvorak.org/NA.
That hurts.
Somebody's going to say, this guy's an idiot.
The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
I'm surprised anybody even likes me.